As the flames closed in on my childhood friend, he calmly turned his gaze toward where I stood. I knew it then, he had been reborn too. At that moment, rows of streaming comments flashed before my eyes. LOL, here comes the simp side character to save the male lead again, after the female supporting character rescues the male lead from his severe third-degree burns and gets sent to the countryside. The male lead can then introduce the impoverished female lead to her family as a fake heiress. The childhood friends to lovers trope is just too sweet. The precious female lead just wants a home. The reborn male lead definitely won't let the supporting female character have another chance to return and threaten her. Oh, really? Well, what if in this life, it's the childhood friend who suffers the severe burns, and not me? 1. The roaring fire crackled and popped. The scorching, thick smoke made it hard to breathe. Coco, don't worry about me, run. The familiar scene and sound sent a jolt through my entire body. Am I not dead? I died from the persecution by my childhood friend and the fake heiress, perishing in a once-in-a-century snowstorm. It's okay, even if I die here, it's fine, as long as you live well. Coco, you are the kindest and most innocent girl I have ever met. I truly wish I could meet you earlier in our next life, so I could protect you. Such deep yet sorrowful words would make anyone hesitate to walk away. In my past life, I was deceived by these very words, but in this life, my heart is colder than a sword tempered for 16 years in the Kunlun Mountains. I looked up and met the gaze of my childhood friend, Wen Hagui, whose face was peerlessly handsome. His expression seemed one of fear and alarm, yet his eyes held a calm and composed steadiness. With just that one glance, I knew he had been reborn too. I curled my lip, about to speak, when rows of bullet comments flashed before my eyes. LOL. Here comes the obsessive second female lead to rescue the male lead again, after the second female lead saves the male lead from his severe burns and gets sent to the countryside. He can introduce the poor female lead to her family as a fake heiress. Childhood friends to lovers, how sweet. The precious female lead just wants a home. The reborn male lead definitely won't let the second female lead have another chance to return and threaten her. Oh, how interesting. Not only was I reborn, but I could also see these bizarre bullet comments. This second life just got a whole lot more interesting, too, just like in my past life. I said nervously, Brother Hagui, I won't let you die. A mocking curve touched Wen Hagui's lips, but just as his smile began to form, I spoke up again. Wait here, I'm going to call the police and get help. Brother Hagui, wait for me. With that, I turned and ran. I ran so frantically that I nearly stumbled and fell. It wasn't to save him in a hurry, but because the fire would spread quickly. The surrounding area was full of dry trees, making it easy for the flames to grow out of control, even if the great fire of my past life didn't reach the surroundings. But I couldn't take that gamble. My life is far too precious. I must stay alive and well until those wretched people are dead. When Hagui only realized I wasn't joking after watching me run a long way off, he began to cry out for help. Help me, Song Jiaoka, hurry up and save me. I'm really going to burn to death. It was only upon hearing this that I finally stopped in my tracks. A flash of hope lit up his eyes, but when he saw me just standing there with my arms crossed, watching him lazily, he grew genuinely frantic. He began to save himself, rushing towards the perimeter of the fire in a desperate attempt to escape, but that idiot had been posturing for too long. The fire was far more intense than he had imagined. To make the fire spread faster and ensure I was burned alive, he had deliberately sent the nanny away and told the security guards there would be fireworks to keep them from interfering. Well, it serves him right. He's reaping what he sowed. The barrage exploded. Is this supporting female character insane? Why isn't she saving the male lead? Holy crap, is the male lead this handsome going to be sacrificed as soon as he appears? No way, he's the male lead, the chosen one. Others might die, but he'll at most get some burns and then come back even more handsome after plastic surgery. That's the standard trope. A faint smirk played on my lips. I don't know who sent these barrage comments, but I know they're all idiots. When Hagui can't get plastic surgery because he has a keloid-prone constitution. Besides, the Wen family doesn't have the same clout as mine. It's impossible, utterly impossible, for him to get a fresh start. I said it, and not even Jesus could change my mind. 5 minutes later, a passing neighbor heard cries for help and urgently called the police and an ambulance, watching from a distance as he was lifted onto a stretcher. The fact that the sheet wasn't pulled over his face told me this bastard wasn't going to die that easily. Well, that's a relief. 3. After a night of emergency treatment and surgery, when Hagui regained consciousness, the long legs he was once so proud of had been amputated. and his once peerlessly handsome face was now a ruin. As if ravaged by fire, the air was thick with the smell of burnt flesh, when Higue's parents, standing by his side, were on the verge of collapsing from grief. After all, he was their only son. The moment my parents and I stepped into the hospital room, when Higue, whose pain had long since numbed him into despair, felt a torrent of fury blaze in his eyes as he cried out, "Song Jiaoke, after all I've done for you, how could you just stand by and watch me die? Do you even know, my leg was amputated. I'll never walk again, my body is covered in third-degree burns, I'm a cripple now. You could have saved me with a single outstretched hand. Why were you so cruel? Why did you have to destroy me? What did I ever do to you? Are you happy now? Are you satisfied, seeing me like this?" The hysterical accusations made him sound like a bitter, scorned woman. Where's the composure of a refined gentleman now? Even in my past life, when I ended up like this, I never lost my dignity so completely. I pursed my lips, putting on a pitiful and wronged act. "Brother Higue, how could you wrong me like this? Everyone knows I listened to you more than anyone. You were the one who started the fire. You drew a big circle with gasoline and said you were going to perform a magic trick for me. I thought you were doing another magic act, and you kept desperately telling me to leave, so I thought it was all part of the show. That's why I obediently walked away." Mrs. Wen wiped her tears and complained. "It's fine that you left, but you should have called the police. How could you just stand by and watch him get burned like that in the fire?" I spread my hands even more innocently. "I didn't leave, I was just over here watching Brother Higue's performance." Mrs. Wen's face went pale with anger. She was about to point at me when Mr. Wen stopped her, trying to calm her down. "Let it go, what's done is done. It was indeed Higue who started the fire, and he really was about to leave Jiaoke. She's only 12, so it's understandable she thought he was performing a magic trick. My parents had already asked me about this situation on their way over. I suppose you could say I'm involved, but to pin the blame on me as the main culprit is a bit much." Seizing the moment, my mother then said, "We're so sorry about this. It's our fault for always spoiling Coco. I've already spoken to the hospital director. They're contacting the best doctors in the world to help Higue with his ongoing treatment. With today's advanced technology, prosthetics are incredibly sophisticated. He'll be back on his feet in no time. Please, don't hesitate to let us know if you need anything at all." In your dreams, in my past life. My parents spent a fortune trying to get me to walk again, but it was no use. His injuries were too severe. The amputation went all the way up to the hip, and it damaged his manhood. The only way he'll have an heir now is if his wife steps out on him. Dad gave Uncle Wen a gentle pat on the shoulder and let out a sigh. "I know children are our greatest treasure. I understand exactly how you must be feeling. No matter how tough things get, life goes on. Once you've had some time to recover, we can work on the wind power project together." The approval documents have all come through. Uncle Wen and Aunt Wen's expressions immediately brightened. They had been putting on a show, just waiting for my father to say those very words. After all, their son's ruin was a fact, and he brought it on himself. Coming after me was pointless. Better to secure a multi-billion-dollar partnership instead. Uncle Wen nodded. "You're right. Life must go on." When Higue had thought his parents would get justice for him and make me pay dearly, instead, he found they were just using him as a bargaining chip. His face flushed crimson with rage, and he was just about to curse me. I leaned in and whispered a taunt right by his ear. "Brother Higue, everything I just said was a lie for their benefit. I know it wasn't magic, and I deliberately didn't save you. Don't even dream about a high-tech prosthetic. That ruined face of yours is yours for life. I was the one who destroyed you, and this is only the beginning." The impact of those words was devastating, so devastating that only after I hypocritically tucked him in did I finally unleash a torrent of hysterical curses. "Song Jiaoke, you bitch, you monster, Mom, Dad," she just admitted it. "It was all on purpose. She wanted to ruin me. No, she wanted to kill me. Mom, Dad, you have to make her pay. You have to end her." The words were left hanging. Uncle Wen cut in angrily. "When Higue, haven't you caused enough trouble? You're still trying to frame Jiaoke. I told you not to play with fire, and you even told the security it was just fireworks so they'd look the other way. You brought all of this on yourself. It's a miracle Jiaoke is unharmed. If anything had happened to her, your life wouldn't have been enough to pay for it." When Higue was so enraged he coughed up blood. Doctors and nurses rushed him to the operating room for emergency treatment. The barrage of comments was also going wild. "Holy crap, the female supporting character has truly lost it. absolutely lost her mind. Did the female supporting character also get reborn? Her moves are ruthless, and her words cut straight to the heart. The poor male lead looks like he's about to be played to death by her. Honestly, the crazy female antagonist is kind of a vibe. The male lead wanted her dead anyway, so returning the tables on him is only fair, haha. That's a pretty interesting way of looking at it. A faint smile touched my lips. Of course it's interesting, especially compared to the hypocritical, nice guy male lead and the female lead who only knows how to play the delicate, pitiful White Lotus victim. Villainesses like me are the real fun. Cross me, and I'll take out two without a second thought. Don't you dare try to use morality to guilt trip me. A demon clawing its way out of hell has no morals to begin with. 5. The National Wind Power Project is a massive, lucrative pie. It was so tempting that Uncle Wen and Aunt Wen quickly forgot all about Wen Hagui, who was still lying in the hospital, and I, the villainess, under the pretense of caring for him, went to the hospital every day to provoke and disgust him. I would take the love letters I received and read them aloud to him. I performed my newly learned ballet dance, twirling gracefully in front of him. Dancing alone is so boring. So I brought along a handsome and gentle younger guy to dance with me. From time to time, I'd drag his old rival over for a visit. When I got first place in my grade on the high school entrance exam, I shared the good news with him right away. He couldn't take it anymore and complained to Uncle Wen and Auntie Wen, telling them not to let me come. Uncle Wen was furious and scolded him for being completely ungrateful. He said that even though I was so busy, I still made time to keep him company and even brought friends to play with him, calling him an ungrateful wretch. He ended up getting seriously depressed. I chimed in naturally, perhaps the hospital environment isn't ideal, and that's why Higui's recovery is slow. My family has a villa in the countryside. The scenery is beautiful, the locals are very kind, and the food is all homegrown and incredibly healthy. If we arrange for a doctor and 2 caregivers there, I'm sure his recovery would be much better than staying here. Then, we could get Higui the most advanced prosthetic leg available. He'd be able to play basketball again. Uncle Wen nodded in agreement right away. Zhaoka really is thoughtful. We are indeed too busy to spend time with him, and so it was decided. That very afternoon, he was driven to the countryside by the chauffeur. He protested, he made a scene, and even threatened to go on a hunger strike. But what good did it do him in the end? Just bundle him up and toss him in the car. He doesn't even have the strength to resist. The barrage of comments lit up. This supporting female character is such a venomous witch. She's so ruthless. Poor male lead, look what she's done to him. This plot feels so familiar. Is the supporting female character planning to do everything the male lead did to her, right back at him? Who says the supporting female character has to just wait around to die? Her fighting back is pretty damn satisfying too. What if the supporting female character ditches the male lead and picks a cute young guy to raise as her own loyal puppy? Now that's a vibe. Could anyone really be more handsome than the male lead? He's supposed to be the most handsome one, but honestly, the main villain, Lin Mo, seems to be just as good looking. The catch is, Lin Mo's looks are matched only by his ruthlessness. He's completely cut off from love and emotion. If the supporting female character and the main villain got together, the end of the world would be just around the corner. 6. Lin Mo. I never heard a single thing about him in my past life. Then again, in my past life, that bastard Wen Higui fed me neurotoxic drugs that drove me completely insane. It took me another half a year of pleading to finally get my parents to agree to send me to the countryside to recuperate. To make my parents forget me completely, they even brought a fake heiress into the house to take my place, and mixed pig feed into my food to make me as fat as a pig. The nanny tasked with caring for me, under his orders, subjected me to all kinds of abuse. In the end, I died on my 16th birthday, during a once-in-a-century snowstorm. My parents were coming to celebrate my birthday with me, but their car broke down halfway. When Higui and the fake heiress arrived first, dragged me out of the house in my pajamas, and forced me to crawl on all fours like a dog to find my parents. The wind was biting, and snow swirled through the air, but none of it was as painful as their humiliation and torment. You fat pig, didn't you want to see your mommy and daddy? Then hurry up and crawl. Gui, your sister smells awful, it's disgusting. When Higui took the leather whip and lashed it hard against my body, you hear me, you fat pig, crawl faster for me, your stench is bothering Roro. Why don't you take a look in the mirror? Do you really think someone like you is worthy of me now? And you still have the nerve to insist on marrying me? You were the one who charged into the fire to save me. I told you to leave, but you idiot just wouldn't listen. You had to run in and rescue me, but that whole thing was a trap I set up. I wanted you dead. It's your own fault for being a girl, yet having parents who adored you so much. I'm a boy and so clever, but mom and dad never praised me once. It's not fair, it's just not fair. So, it's better if you're gone, all because of a reason that absurd. That's how I ended up tortured, abused, and killed by them. I was so close to seeing my parents again, I was so close to making it out alive. If this world is so unjust to good people, why should I show it any mercy? To hell with all of you. It's easy to convince Uncle Wen and Auntie Wen to adopt a little boy. All you need to do is get teary-eyed and say you miss Brother Hague. Tell them you were bullied by some thugs on the street, and a boy who looked just like Brother Hague saved you. Then, just show a bit of admiration and affection. They'll be the ones to suggest adopting Lin Mo. After all, their long-standing wish has been to marry into our family. That way, it would be easier for them to take over the family fortune once the line dies out. The real challenge, however, was convincing Lin Mo to leave his kind foster parents and come with me. He raised an eyebrow and scoffed. Am I out of my mind? I've finally found kind and gentle parents who want to adopt me. Why on earth would I go with you? Money. Over the years, plenty of wealthy couples have wanted to adopt me. I never went with any of them, and you're just a kid. Don't bother me unless it's important. I'm not going with you. 7. So, right in front of him, I gave the parents who were about to adopt him a suitcase full of money, 500,000 yuan. I smiled and said, Uncle, Auntie, please give up on adopting Brother Lin Mo. I just lost my own brother, and he looks so much like him. I want to take him home with me. You can use this money to improve your lives, or to adopt another child. Please believe me. I can absolutely provide a better living environment for Brother Lin Mo. No adult would ever turn it down. A kind-hearted person would think about providing a better life and future for him. A selfish person would think that with that 500,000, they could adopt any child they wanted, or even pursue IVF. Lin Mo watched helplessly as his adoptive parents walked away with the money, his eyes bloodshot. He grabbed me by the collar and snarled, What the hell do you want? Don't think for a second I'll go with you. Plenty of people want to adopt me. A smile touched my lips, my eyes crinkling at the corners. Don't worry, I have plenty of money and time to spare for you. He was just a 14-year-old boy back then, not nearly as malicious as the barrage of comments made him out to be. He said through gritted teeth, Aren't you afraid I'll get my revenge, that I'll turn your whole world upside down? The first 2 families that took me in, one died in a car crash. The other perished in a house fire, wiped out, every last one of them. My smile grew even brighter. I know. And I know you were the one who did it. After the first family adopted you, they had twins, they beat you every day, locked you in the dog pen. You were the one who tampered with the car's brakes. The man from the second household was a pervert. He tried to assault you and treated you like property. You burned it all to the ground. He let go of my collar. His expression cold and complicated. You knew all along. He adjusted his clothes with an air of indifference. Of course, you were just protecting yourself, compared to me, who had to watch my childhood friend suffer 6th-degree burns in a fire and lose both legs at the hip. You're still quite kind. Believe me, we're the same kind of people. We make perfectly good demons. There's no need to try being human. Next time you want to destroy the world, I'll bring the matches. Lin Mo took a few steps back. You're insane, a complete lunatic. I took 2 steps forward, lifted my foot to tilt his chin up, and smiled with pure, radiant malice. I'll send someone to fetch you this afternoon. Be a good girl and do as you're told, or there will be more than one Lin Mo in this world. Understood. 8. The barrage lights up. Holy crap, is the supporting female character going on a rampage? She actually dealt with the main villain in just a few sentences. This supporting female character seems even more unhinged now. I have zero doubt about her determination to destroy the world. I always thought Lin Mo, that absolute lunatic, was completely unchecked. Turns out the supporting female character just died too early. Ha ha ha. The main villain is completely wrapped around her little finger. It's kind of adorable, actually. Are you insane? This is Lin Mo we're talking about. After his adoptive parents were beaten to death by the demolition crew, he went completely dark. He didn't just take out all 32 members of that crew, he brought down the entire listed corporation and every corrupt official involved. Over 100 officials were formally censured by the provincial government. I mean, Lin Mo was easier to handle than I expected. Turns out it's because he hadn't turned to the dark side yet. I just got lucky, but he's rotten to the core. No matter how good he seems, there's a limit to it. 3 days later, Lin Mo was officially adopted by the Wen family. He was given the new name Wen Xingxiu. It carries the meaning of being a man of his word and a true gentleman. I was the one who chose the name. Everyone thought it was my heartfelt wish for his future. I was actually mocking him. All that talk about being a man of his word and a paragon of virtue is utterly laughable. He must have understood. Which is why the look he gave me was so complicated. How could my childhood friend, Wen Hegui, not know about such momentous, joyous news? I deliberately picked a bright, sunny day to take Wen Xingxiu to the countryside to find him. It was a scorching summer day, the hottest part of the afternoon at 2 o'clock. A wave of heat hit me the moment I opened the car door, yet there he was, sitting in the yard, basking in the sun. His skin was deeply tanned, marked with gruesome wounds. My childhood friend, who had grown unnaturally fat, it was obvious he'd been eating pig feed. He was even more repulsive than I had been in my past life, at least back then. My parents would call me from time to time, and the nanny didn't dare go too far. When he saw me, he angrily tried to get up from his chair to hit me. He ended up falling flat on the ground, howling in pain from the burn. I smiled and said, "Brother Hegui, you're too kind. You don't need to perform such a grand bow outside of the New Year or festivals." As I spoke, I put my arm around Wen Xingxiu, who was holding an umbrella for me, and introduced him. "Brother Hegui, let me introduce you. This is Wen Xingxiu, your younger brother, and my new childhood friend." Then, turning to Wen Xingxiu, she said, "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and greet your senior. If you don't behave, you'll end up just like him." Wen Xingxiu swallowed hard, saying nothing. "Bro. Hey, the barrage chat absolutely lost it. LMAO, I'm dying." The big bad is totally shook by the supporting female character's move. That greeting to the senior was absolutely priceless. The supporting female character is hilarious. Poor male lead. He should be the celebrated, envied business prodigy of the era right now. A once-in-a-century talent like Wen Hegui. Instead, he's lying there like a pig, filthy and stinking. Ruined. Completely ruined. I figured it out. The supporting female character's favorite tactic is to destroy someone both physically and mentally. The villain beside her is trembling in fear right now. 9. I glanced at Wen Xingxiu beside me. He wasn't trembling in fear at all. It was just the sweltering heat that had beads of sweat forming on his forehead. The veins on his hand, gripping the parasol, stood out. But that was simply from holding on tight so it wouldn't blow away in the wind. Well, I have to say, he's genuinely drop-dead gorgeous. Especially when you see him next to my childhood friend who's wailing and cursing at me from the floor. He's absolutely god-tier handsome. My childhood friend was so furious with me that he crawled over from the floor, trying to grab my leg. The moment he made contact, I kicked him straight out, sending him flying 2 meters back. His agonized scream echoed through the entire villa. Back then, for the sake of peace and quiet, I deliberately chose a rather remote spot. So there were absolutely no neighbors around. The nanny, who was taking an afternoon nap, was startled awake by his voice. She immediately cursed, "You damned beast, if you bark again, I'll kill you." So, my childhood friend immediately shut up. See, I'm just too kind and gentle. My words don't carry as much weight as the nanny's. High school life was particularly interesting, watching Wen Xingxiu strut around like a peacock, being all gentle and chivalrous to the children of the powerful. He's trying to build his own network and influence to rival me, or perhaps to break free from my control. While he's basking in the limelight, I used the cheat code of my past life memories to propel my parents' business straight to the top of the industry. That wasn't enough. I pushed it right to the absolute peak of the domestic pyramid. All the connections and resources he painstakingly cultivated have to respectfully address me as Sis Ku in my presence. He refused to accept defeat and started his own business. With the help of the bullet comments, even though I didn't know the plot, I could still figure out what he was up to. So when he started the business, I offered to invest, but he was reluctant at first. So, just as he was on the verge of success, I sabotaged it and then bought him out. He refused to believe it was a lost cause and tried several more times. It wasn't until the losses piled up and both Uncle Wen and his business partner voiced their concerns that he finally backed down. Now, he stood a full head taller than me, looking down at me from his height. "Song Zhaoka, is this really necessary?" I crooked a finger and smiled. I don't like it when people look down on me. So, after a moment's hesitation, he bent down. The corners of my mouth lifted in a faint smile. "Still not enough. On your knees." His face was a mask of fury. "Don't you dare push it, you." Before he could finish, I grabbed his chin, forcing him to look at me in an excruciatingly uncomfortable position. What exactly have I done that's so terrible? You chose to follow me back then. If it weren't for me all these years, do you really think you'd have the right to be here? Have I been too lenient with you? Is that why you've forgotten who's in charge? 10. That was a nasty thing to say, but I was genuinely furious. Because I thought he was a real piece of work, the kind who'd casually ruin lives and bring about chaos, but after spending these years with me, surrounded by this simple, unconditional affection, he's completely turned over a new leaf. Now he even tags along with my parents to do charity work all the time. I am deeply dissatisfied. He licked the blood from the corner of his mouth, his expression inscrutable as he spoke. I understand. The barrage of comments lit up frantically. Friendly reminder. Remember to breathe. The supporting female character has truly lost her mind. Why on earth is she trying to drive the villain insane? Her parents worked so hard to bring him back from the edge. Isn't she afraid he'll snap and come for her first? She's going to get herself killed. I think the supporting female character is playing a long game. The villain is just a pawn in her pocket, a mere plaything. Exactly. It's like she's training him like a dog. Abuse breeds loyalty. While love fosters freedom, a faint smile touched my lips, so there were some sharp minds in the comment section. The fake heiress, Jo Runing, had finally made her appearance. As the female lead, she was stacked with every advantage: a scholarship student, stunning looks, and a sweet, coquettish voice. On her very first day at the new school, she drew a crowd of curious classmates. She was beautiful, truly beautiful. But in the eyes of the wealthy, beauty is never a scarce resource. Before I could even make a move, she took the initiative and approached Wen Qingxiu, gazing up at him with her big, doe-like eyes. Wen Qingxiu, I skipped breakfast and I'm feeling a bit lightheaded. Do you have any snacks? Could you spare some? Wen Qingxiu let out a derisive snort. Plenty of other students in class have food on their desks. Why did you have to come to me? She was taken aback for a moment. He Ming obviously used this excuse to cozy up for the first time and was met with a counter-question. I only started feeling hypoglycemic when I got to you. Did I cause you trouble? I'm sorry. When Qingxiu let out a cold, derisive snort. You're in the first row. I'm in the third. If you want water, the easiest way is to go past the teacher's desk to the fourth row. You wouldn't even pass by my seat if you were throwing out trash. Then, may I ask? Why exactly would you be passing by my seat? Everyone else has food on their desks, but I don't even have a bottle of water. Besides, guys don't usually buy snacks, right? The classroom instantly erupted in laughter. Someone else chimed in. See, Brother Wen's got that charm. Even the transfer student fell for you at first sight. When Qingxiu let out a dismissive snort. Don't bring that trash around here. It's an eyesore. Zhou Songming's tears fell instantly, and she ran out of the room. Utterly humiliated, any teenage girl would be devastated to be humiliated like that by a boy she likes. 11. The screen was flooded with comments. The villain despises this kind of fake, delicate white lotus. It reminds him all too much of his first foster mother. I used to really like the female lead, thought she was so cute and adorable, but in the face of domineering energy and unhinged madness, being cute and acting all mo is completely useless. Okay. The villain has incredible emotional control. Honestly, half the reason he's being so vicious is because of the supporting female character. Ever since the female lead transferred in, that girl has been glaring daggers at her, practically drawing blood with her nails. The villain is basically getting revenge for her. Wait, what? The supporting female character treated the villain so horribly. Why is he helping her? Shouldn't he hate her? Anyone can tell from your comment that you've been single your whole life. The villain is rotten to the core, so he's only attracted to people who are even worse than him. Don't just see that she's bad, she's also genuinely stunning and completely unhinged. She slaps him at the drop of a hat, and have you ever seen him fight back? Seriously, he might have even enjoyed it. Me, when Qingxiu really didn't have to be such a creep. Zhou Runing is being bullied at school. Part of the reason is that she offended Wen Qingxiu. At least 2/3 of the girls in school have a crush on him, and the remaining third are just fooled by his top student aura. The other part of the reason is that she offended me, because I said in disgust, she smells awful. It's disgusting. It was exactly the same words she used to humiliate me in my past life, except back then, I was out in the heavy snow, while she was in an unfamiliar classroom. The school had plenty of influential figures, but I was at the very top of the food chain. There aren't that many truly kind people in the world. Not only would they not cross me for her sake, they'd even bully her to try and win my favor. Things like being locked in the bathroom, having mice put in my backpack, and finding my desk drawer filled with trash. Walking through school, everyone would point and whisper. In the cafeteria, the seats around me would always be empty. Compared to what she did to me in my past life, this is nowhere near enough. With my subtle encouragement, the harassment escalated from verbal humiliation to physical bullying. Every time after school, hearing the sound of her kowtowing and apologizing in the bathroom always put me in a particularly good mood. When Qingshu asked me curiously, why not just finish her off? What's the point of this? I casually took the handkerchief he offered and wiped my fingers clean. Of course it's fun. That's how cats play with the mice they catch. I'm bored with it now. Get a few thugs to rough him up. Just don't kill him. I still have big plans for him. He's very clever. Is this for me, senpai? I let out a light chuckle and praised. Yeah, don't you think they're a perfect match? When Qingshu's expression was complicated. Will you treat me like this in the future? Too. The corners of my mouth turned up, my eyes crinkled, sweet and innocent. If you want me to, I can do that for you. He shook his head. I don't want it. I patted his shoulder with a smile. Then be a good boy and listen. If you want the stars in the sky, I'll pluck them down for you. If you don't behave, he'll be a cautionary tale for you. He didn't say a word, only swallowing hard, but it was clear from his obedient expression, he would be very well behaved. 12. When Qingshu truly lives up to being the little troublemaker I handpicked. That very night, he arranged for the local hoodlums to stage a hero saves the damsel act for her, and they even showed her a surprisingly chivalrous and considerate side. This was especially true of their leader, the guy with the bleached hair, who took her for a spin on his high-end motorcycle worth nearly $1 million, giving her a tour of what he considered his turf. She took the initiative to add him as a friend. They say nice guys finish last. A troublemaker like Blondie is far more exciting than some boring bookworm, and ever since she got together with Blondie, the other kids at school stopped bullying her. She even thought Blondie was the secret love child of some powerful big shot. With immense influence, she was utterly, hopelessly devoted to that punk, even when he slept with other women right in front of her, even when he let his buddies have their way with her. Morals, self-respect, self-love, none of it meant a damn thing to her compared to that worthless punk. In my past life, I died for a piece of trash like that. It's absolutely pathetic. It's easier to get Zhou Running to seduce her childhood sweetheart herself. First, get the punk hooked on gambling, deep in debt to loan sharks, and have him steal her identity to borrow another 300,000. That wasn't the punk's limit. It was the limit of her ID card. The moment the punk fled, the loan sharks came for her. She was left with only two options, either sell herself as a prostitute, or find a rich second-generation heir to swindle, and the candidate had already been picked out for her. She looked at her childhood friend, who was hideously ugly and as fat as a pig. She immediately vomited, but in the end, she still chose to seduce her childhood friend. The method of seduction was simple. She pretended to be the daughter of the country nanny who had cared for her childhood sweetheart. As the female lead, she was naturally beautiful. Compared to the other country women, she looked like an absolute goddess. To win her over, he spared no expense, gifting her dresses worth thousands and handbags costing over 10,000. His efforts finally earned him a favorable look from Zhou Running, but Zhou Running flat out refused to sleep with him, insisting they wait until after marriage and demanding a 5 million yuan bride price. Her goal was to scrape together the 800,000 needed to pay off the compounding interest on her loan shark debt, and then vanish. To her surprise, her childhood sweetheart took her seriously and started calling Uncle Wen and Aunt Wen, demanding to come home. They were initially against it and told him to stay put in the countryside. I said, blinking my big eyes, the doctor says he's almost fully recovered in the countryside, so we should let him come back. I've already arranged for a prosthetist. We'll have a custom one made for him. I was too young and foolish to save him back then, but now I want to make up for my mistake, Aunt Wen said with a sigh. Zhaoka, you're such a good kid, even after all this, you still haven't forgotten Higuei. Alright, we'll listen to you and let him come back, but if he acts up and bullies you again, he'll have us to answer to. The corners of my mouth turned up. No matter how brother Higuei treats me, I could never be angry with him. When Qingshu silently took a step back, he knows that the sweeter my smile, the more ruthless my strike. 13. The barrage of comments also began to heat up. Wow, the male lead is finally rushing to his doom. I used to worry the female supporting character would kill the male lead, now I'm worried she won't kill him. What is the male lead compared to the villain? He's just extra. Exactly. I'm shipping the female supporting character and the villain. They're just too good together, two unhinged characters, so thrilling. Don't any of you feel sorry for the female lead? She was such a pure, innocent flower, and now she's been utterly ruined, haha. Well, everyone's a villain anyway. The female supporting character is the most unhinged, turning the main antagonist into an absolute sweetheart. It's great, I love it, can't get enough. Tell me about it. My original plan was to let Wen Qingxiu come back after we finished the college entrance exams. But he came back on his own initiative. What else was I supposed to do? Of course, I'll let him have his way. When Hegui stepped out of the luxury car with Zhou Runing, he was so fat he couldn't even fit in a standard wheelchair. They had to use a stretcher to get him into the villa. Zhou Runing stared at the incredibly luxurious villa, her eyes wide with awe. She introduced herself excitedly. Hello, uncle, auntie. I'm Hegui's girlfriend, Zhou Runing. Please, just call me Ningning. The fact that someone could see the good in their son was already enough to fill Uncle Wen and Auntie Wen with gratitude. He nodded immediately and said, alright, you can stay here and take care of Hegui from now on. Let me introduce you, this is Song Zhaoke, and this is Wen Qingxiu. Just hearing my name was enough to send Wen Hegui into a panic, his eyes bloodshot. He roared furiously, you bitch, you're not welcome in our home. Get the hell out of here, Mom, Dad. You have no idea how she's been torturing me all this time. She's a lunatic, a complete psycho. Before he could finish, Uncle Wen cut him off. Enough. If it weren't for Zhaoke talking us down, you wouldn't even be standing here right now. If we ever hear you badmouth her again, you'll have us to answer to. Also, remember that Qingxiu is your brother. The company will go to him in the future. But we'll set up a trust fund and properties for you, enough to last you several lifetimes. When Hegui disagreed and was about to argue, but Zhou Ru quickly nodded in agreement. Got it, uncle and auntie, that's more than enough for Hegui. He really can't go out to work anyway. Auntie Wen was quite pleased with her. You're a sensible young lady. If you're willing to marry Hegui, we'll offer a dowry of 5 million, a 50 million villa in the city center, a few sports cars for you, and we'll arrange for drivers and housekeepers to be at your service, Zhou Runing said excitedly. Thank you, auntie, don't worry, I'll take good care of Hegui. 14. The corners of my mouth lifted in a light chuckle. Ha, then, Aunt Wen turned to look at me and asked, Zhaoke, do you have any thoughts on this? I'll go along with whatever you say. Instantly, Zhou Runing broke out in a cold sweat on her forehead. If my aunt and uncle weren't right there, he probably would have gotten down on his knees to beg me. My childhood friend was also worried I'd stop the wedding. Glaring at me with pure malice, Song Zhaoke, if you dare stand in the way of me marrying Ro, I swear I'll haunt you from the grave. The corners of my mouth lifted into a bright, radiant smile. Not at all, I couldn't be happier for you. I hear the end of the month is an auspicious date. Why don't you get married a little sooner? It would set your parents' minds at ease. The suggestion was right up their alley, and they agreed on the spot. When Qingxiu came to see me in the evening, using studying as an excuse, he was actually just there to gossip and ask me questions. Are you planning to pull a major stunt at their wedding? I kept working on my problems, not even looking up. Alright, make sure to bring all those punks over then, and have the video of their little orgy projected on the big screen. Oh, and get his prosthetic arm ready in advance. Wouldn't want him to have trouble swinging it when the time comes. Watch your strength. Don't kill him, we're not done having our fun yet. When Qingxiu finally asked the question he had been curious about for so long, why do you hate them both so much? They both contracted a severe sexually transmitted disease. Moreover, when Hegui has been taking hallucinogenic drugs for a long time, even if he struggles on, he won't live for more than 2 years. Only then did I look up, letting out a soft, derisive laugh as I met his gaze. Because I had the ability to foresee both the future and the past, they hurt me in the past, so I paid them back 10-fold, 100-fold. His first reaction wasn't to argue with me. Instead, he moved closer, staring straight at me. And the future, what will become of us? I pinched his chin and let out a derisive snort. You will be my utterly loyal dog, and I will become the richest woman. I will change history. The barrage of comments lit up. The supporting female lead has truly lost her mind. She actually dared to call the villain a dog. Is he going to kill her for that? The villain is absolutely loving this. Okay, he's a total freak. Please don't try to understand him with a normal person's mindset. The supporting female lead is just too good at this. She should start a masterclass. I'm begging you. Her resume can now be updated. Expert level dog tamer. A faint smile played on my lips. he was clearly enjoying himself, even licking his lips. The sickening possessiveness in his eyes was practically overflowing. 15. When Higuei and Zhou Runing's wedding was a very low-key affair, they just set up a single table at the villa, inviting only my parents and me, just the two families sharing a meal. That said, Zhou Runing's haute couture wedding gown was stunning. The crown on her head and the massive diamond necklace around her neck must have cost at least several million. Money's no object for them, anyway, as long as she's happy. When Higuei was wearing a prosthetic leg, though it felt a bit awkward, once he put on the suit, he still looked quite presentable. He knelt down on one knee, holding the ring, so overcome with emotion that tears and sniffles came all at once. Ning Ning, I love you. You are my angel, my hope, and my salvation. I swear I will love you for the rest of my life and never betray you. Will you marry me? What a deeply moving declaration. Zhou Runing smiled beautifully, a flash of disgust passing through her eyes. I do. And right at that moment, a scene straight out of a cheesy TV drama unfolded. The punk barged in with a gang of his buddies. I object. Runing, I forbid you to marry him. You've had 5 abortions for me. You've long been my woman. I know you're only with him to pay off the loan sharks, but I've cleared the debt now. Come with me. I promise I'll never let you suffer again. Zhou Runing felt a flicker of temptation, but glancing at the 13-carat diamond ring on her finger, she shook her head and refused. I don't love you anymore. Please don't interfere with my marriage to my husband. The blonde-haired man spat a thick glob of phlegm and cursed. Damn it. I always knew you were a vain bitch, in this life. You won't marry anyone but me. As he spoke, he looked at Wen Higuei with a cold sneer. Ugly bastard, how do my cast-offs feel on your feet? Let me show you something else. If you still want to marry her after this, I'll have to respect you as a real man. With a snap of his fingers, the electronic screen that had been displaying their wedding photo switched to a video of Zhou Runing partying with a group of his buddies. That was all child's play. Now this is where the real fun begins. What was even more shocking were the filthy, obscene things she said, utterly vile. When Higuei's eyes instantly turned bloodshot, and he lunged forward to slap Zhou Runing twice, he cursed her furiously. You bitch, you whore, you filthy slut. He tried to blame it on some dirty STD from his old dorm days, but the truth is, he's been passed around so much he's worn out. I'm gonna beat you to death today. The blows were particularly vicious. Uncle Wen and Auntie Wen took several steps back, showing not the slightest intention of intervening. Seeing this, the thugs charged forward, grabbing Wen Higuei and beating him savagely. They went for the kill, targeting every vulnerable spot. After all, even hired goons know not to finish the job completely. After crippling them, they left with a final remark. Forget it, I don't even want this piece of trash anymore. With that, he swaggered off. Only then did they call for an ambulance. 16. After 3 hours of emergency treatment, they both survived. When Higuei's spine was fractured, both his hands were shattered, and the only thing he could move was his eyes. Zhou Runing wasn't much better off. She had a ruptured kidney, 8 broken ribs, and both her legs were destroyed, leaving her paralyzed for life. After hearing the doctor's report, Uncle Wen and Aunt Wen were quite disappointed. How is he still alive after losing so much blood and being so badly injured? So when I mentioned that the family had opened a new high-end nursing home, they volunteered to have the two of them admitted. The nursing home, built specifically for them, finally came in handy. They were locked in the same room, given only 1 meal a day, which Zhou Runing always ended up eating. After all, when Higuei had lost both his hands and feet, what could he possibly use to eat? The food was laced with madness-inducing drugs, compounded by daily electroconvulsive therapy. Half a month later, Zhou Runing, driven mad or perhaps simply ravenous, gouged out Wen Higuei's eyes and devoured them. When Qingxiu, who had come along with me to watch the commotion, happened to witness this very scene, his face turned deathly pale, and he looked like he was about to be sick. Meanwhile, I watched with a smile, not even blinking for fear of missing a single second, so he rushed outside and proceeded to vomit violently. I followed slowly behind him, gently patting his back. The voice was gentle and caring. Hush now, don't be afraid, this won't happen if you just behave. Will you be obedient? His face was deathly pale, his entire body trembling. He said in a hoarse voice, I will be obedient. I held him in my arms with satisfaction, gently patting his back. He nestled obediently in my embrace, a slight smile playing on his lips. The barrage of comments lit up frantically. Holy crap, the villain is smiling. He was acting all along. The true hunter often appears in the guise of the prey. I'm absolutely obsessed with this unhinged pair. so crazy, I love it, check the details. There's a mirror behind the villain. The female supporting character saw his expression all along but pretended not to notice. The more you think about it, the scarier it gets. Frankly, it's terrifying even at first glance. Story 2, someone tampered with my drinking water the day before the joint college entrance exam. My best friend surpassed me and secured the only guaranteed admission spot. My childhood sweetheart comforted me. Don't worry, you'll have another shot at the national college entrance exam. But I was kidnapped on the day of the college entrance exam, and my childhood sweetheart missed his chance to take it while rescuing me. Out of gratitude, I married my childhood sweetheart. Years later, my glamorous best friend who graduated from a prestigious university came to attend my wedding. Then I accidentally overheard a conversation between my husband and her. Ran. It's all thanks to you making her miss both exams, otherwise I'd never have been able to marry her. Sue Ran smirked coldly. What did she expect? Being that old hag's daughter, if I don't grind her into the dirt, how could my mother ever outshine that woman? Blinded by rage, I rammed my car into them all, leaving them permanently disabled, and earning myself a death sentence. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself reborn back in senior year of high school. Nan. Let me fill your water bottle for you. You can squeeze in 2 more practice problems during this break. Sue Ran stood before me, speaking in a timid voice. Without waiting for my response, she took the empty cup from my desk. My childhood friend He-jing walked over from the back row and sat down beside me. Nan, Ran treats you so well, even though she's perpetually second place, she still gives up her break time to help you practice problems. The way she said it made it sound like I was taking advantage of Sue Ran. The surrounding classmates glanced over with mixed expressions. Someone whispered, "Is Shen Nan bullying the school belle? Weren't they childhood friends? Why does the school belle seem so submissive around her?" Growing up together just makes you more vulnerable to emotional manipulation. He-jing listened with an amused glint in his eyes, but feigned anger as he barked at them. Shut up, all of you. Nan isn't that kind of person. When silence fell, He-jing gazed at me with undisguised tenderness. Nan, no matter how many people misunderstand you, I'll always have your back. Psycho. I ignored He-jing without even batting an eye. This was the exact day in my past life. I drank the water Sue Ran gave me, got severe diarrhea until dehydration knocked me out cold, and completely missed the joint college entrance exam. With me out of the picture as competition, Sue Ran finally broke her runner-up curse and clinched first place. My homeroom teacher told me with genuine regret, "I know your capabilities, but school policies are non-negotiable. Since you missed the exam, the recommendation spot automatically goes to Sue Ran, including." My homeroom teacher knew my background and how much this top score reward meant to me. Her voice trembled with reluctant sympathy. Even the privilege of 4-year tuition-free university education must be granted to Sue Ran. I'm an orphan, abandoned since childhood. It was Grandma He-jing who took me in. The He family wasn't well off. Grandma He brought me home to raise me as He-jing's child bride. That way He-jing won't need to spend a dime when he gets married. I did everything for the He family: laundry, cooking, feeding chickens, raising pigs, yet I never had enough to eat or wear. Thankfully, the 9-year compulsory education became universal. The village party secretary came to the He household with the police, and that's how I finally got to attend school. Junior and senior high school were tuition-free. I just needed to take odd jobs in my spare time to cover living expenses. But university tuition was another story, prohibitively expensive. I've studied relentlessly these 3 years for this very moment, the full 4-year tuition waiver that comes with acing these joint entrance exams. The He family wouldn't pay for my college, nor would they allow me to attend university. They feared that if I went to college and broadened my horizons, I'd refuse to marry He-jing, so they tried every means to keep me trapped in this backward, impoverished mountain region. In my past life, after failing the entrance exam, I returned to school to retrieve a cup for hospital testing. But the cup was nowhere to be found. I went to check the classroom surveillance footage with my homeroom teacher, only to be told the cameras had been broken for over a week. The last recorded image showed He-jing dribbling a basketball in class. The ball bounced up and smashed the camera. I wasn't entirely free of suspicion toward He-jing regarding these coincidences. It wasn't until he abandoned his college entrance exams to search for me that my doubts were dispelled. Yet who could have imagined this was all his carefully orchestrated act? Just to bind me in lifelong guilt toward him. He knew he'd never pass the university exams, and he couldn't focus on studying anyway. He was afraid I'd climb the social ladder by attending a prestigious university. So he conspired with Su Ran to sabotage my future. Su Ran placed the filled water glass on my desk. She gave me a timid smile, her eyes brimming with cautious ingratiation. Nan, I mixed half hot and half cold water for you. It's just the right temperature now. You can drink it. My eyes stayed fixed on the test questions as I gave a noncommittal couldn't be bothered to look at her. She bit her lip, her eyes instantly welling up with tears. Nan, did I do something wrong? You're being so distant. Saran was well liked in class, and with her striking looks, many rushed to defend her. Class rep, who do you think you are? The campus belle doesn't owe you anything, she even fetched water for you, and this is how you treat her. Can't even say thank you. I didn't even look up. Thanks. My accuser froze mid-sentence, and Su Ran was stunned too. The school bell rang. Su Ran reluctantly returned to her seat. I glanced at my cup, then at the identical one on Su Ran's desk. Su Ran and He Jing were from the same village, though her family was slightly better off. Most of my belongings were hand-me-downs from Saran after she'd used them. I'm always grateful for this, though she loves teasingly announcing it in front of crowds. That dress Nan's wearing, I gave it to her. Way too baggy on me but fits her perfectly. She's always making remarks like that. In elementary school, my classmates mocked me for being like a beggar, treasuring whatever Su Ran discarded. Later in middle and high school, she'd always buy 2 of everything just to give me 1, if I refused. She'd give it to Granny He instead. Just when I thought I'd shaken off the beggar label, I got branded as a copycat instead. Every penny I earn from odd jobs goes back to Su Ran. I refuse to owe her anything. I've always believed nobody's perfect. We all have our flaws and shortcomings. Judge actions, not intentions. No one's record is spotless when scrutinized, whatever her motives were. At least she provided me clothes to wear and a cup to use. Only on my deathbed did I learn the truth. I was actually her half-sister. Her malice toward me wasn't just in my head after all. Through the small mirror, I saw Saran's venomous gaze fixed on my cup. I deliberately unscrewed the lid, watching her pupils dilate slightly and her lips twitch with anticipation. The next instant, I tightened the cap again. Her pupils contracted sharply as she clenched her jaw, fingernails digging into her palms, for the entire class. I kept relentlessly fraying her nerves like this. Her once clear eyes had become bloodshot by the end of the lesson. Her body trembled uncontrollably. I found it almost amusing. With such weak nerves, she still dared to misbehave. When the school bell rang, Su Ran suddenly sprang to her feet. I instantly grabbed my cup, throat bobbing as I took a few performative sips of water. Only then did she settle back into her seat with a relieved sigh. I screwed the cap back on and slumped over the desk. Feigning exhaustion, out of the corner of my eye, I saw her pulling He Jing outside. Seizing their absence, I poured the water from my cup into an empty mineral water bottle and concealed it in my backpack. The emptied cup was placed back on the table. When Su Ran returned, she deliberately walked past me and picked up my cup. The lighter weight made her irrepressibly happy. Nan, let me refill your water for you. With that, she grabbed my cup and ran out with a smile. During the next class, I pretended to clutch my stomach in pain while shedding tears. In the mirror, Su Ran couldn't help but curve her lips into a smile, locking eyes with He Jing in the back row. Seizing the moment, I clutched my stomach and stood up to ask the English teacher for leave. Teacher, I suddenly got this terrible stomachache. The English teacher was my favorite instructor, who also happened to be my homeroom teacher. In my past life, he pulled every string he could to help me. Even when I missed my college entrance exams, he went to Grandma He's house, offering to pay for my repeat year, only to get beaten over the head with a broom and thrown out. To make matters worse, Grandma He stormed into the school and made a huge scene, publicly accusing my homeroom teacher of having improper intentions toward me. This led to the teacher being suspended and facing complaints and verbal abuse from parents. Yet even then, when He Jing took me south for migrant work, that teacher still sent me encouraging messages. Shannan, you may have missed the college entrance exam, but you haven't missed out on your entire future. You can always return to school through self-study programs for adult education, or explore other paths. Life is long, never give up on yourself. Now, my homeroom teacher saw me in this disheveled state, drenched in sweat with unstoppable tears. They immediately contacted the school nurse to take me to the infirmary. Having endured the agony of dehydration in my past life, playing the part comes effortlessly this time around. When Su Ran and He Jing came to check on me, they finally felt reassured enough to return to class after seeing me pale-faced and constantly running to the restroom. During the last evening's self-study session, I asked my homeroom teacher for leave to be hospitalized at an outside clinic. The homeroom teacher lamented in the classroom, how could this happen? Shannan actually got hospitalized at such a critical time, the joint exams are tomorrow, no way, I've got to go check on her. After the homeroom teacher left, Su-ran and Hee-jing were overjoyed. Su-ran even started humming a tune on her way back. I skipped morning self-study the next day. Su-ran noticed my empty seat and felt a weight lift from her chest. We were assigned to different schools for the exams. My homeroom teacher, concerned about my illness, personally escorted me to the exam venue. I didn't return to school until after the exam was over. Su-ran spotted me and hurried over with a sad expression. Nan, what a shame, how could you miss the exam? I just smiled. Don't worry, there's still the college entrance exam. She let out a smug humph, deliberately drawing it out. This joint exam could get you direct admission. With full tuition waiver too. The class bell rang as she returned to her seat. Finding a note tucked under her water bottle, I woke up early that morning and forged Hee-jing's handwriting to write "Enjoy your drink," ran on the note. I poured all the mineral water I'd secretly substituted that day into Su-ran's cup. She took a sip from the cup, her lips curling into a blissful smile. When Hee-jing walked past Su-ran carrying a basketball, she blushed and gave him a coy wink. Hee-jing scratched his head in confusion, then responded with a smile. Su-ran became even more certain the note came from Hee-jing. Su-ran finished the entire glass of water before the class ended. When class dismissed, she'd barely stood up to find Hee-jing when she suddenly clutched her stomach, collapsing to the floor in convulsions. Clutching her stomach, she scrambled up from the floor and bolted to the restroom. She never returned for 2 full class periods. The homeroom teacher sent someone to look for her. They finally found her in the hallway outside the restroom. She was unconscious from dehydration, just like I was in my past life. Hee-jing frowned as Su-ran was carried out. He came up to me and asked, Nan, why does Su-ran's condition look so similar to yours back then, only much worse? He wasn't whispering, and half the class heard him. Yeah, class president, did you give the school bell your cold? Don't get us sick too. The college entrance exams are coming up. We can't afford to follow now. Shannan, if you're sick just drop out already. Stop holding everyone back. We all know you're some penniless orphan, who knows what kind of disease you can't afford to treat. The campus beauty probably got infected from being around you. Accusations and insults flew thick and fast. I looked at Hee-jing, but there wasn't a trace of concern for me in his eyes. His mood visibly improved as the voices humiliating me grew louder. Hee-jing always claims to love me, saying I'm the most important person in his life. Yet his so-called love constantly puts me in humiliating situations. When the homeroom teacher walked in at that moment, the students immediately exclaimed, Teacher, Su-ran's condition is exactly like Shannan's was back then. She must have caught it from Shannan. We're about to take the college entrance exams. What if she infects all of us? Make her take a leave of absence. Or we'll file a collective complaint with the Education Bureau. Hee-jing took perverse pleasure in putting me in situations where everyone would despise me. Every time this happened, he'd swoop in like some knight in shining armor, standing between me and the world, ready to fight my battles. Yet all these storms were clearly brought by him. I watched his performance with cold detachment. True enough, the next second he stepped in front of me, turning his back toward me. What nonsense are you spouting? Nan isn't an orphan, she's been adopted by my family. I won't tolerate your baseless accusations. Nan isn't sick at all. Last time she just had food poisoning, and now Su-ran clearly has the same symptoms, classic foodborne illness. Hee-jing turned back and gazed at me tenderly. Nan, with me here, no one will ever bully you. The students were still murmuring when the homeroom teacher slammed her book on the desk. Do you have proof? Any evidence that Shannan infected Su-ran? How dare you spread baseless rumors? All those years of education wasted on you. The classroom instantly fell dead silent. Someone couldn't help but whisper, but their symptoms are clearly identical. The homeroom teacher raised her voice. I personally accompanied Su-ran to the hospital for 4 fluids and all necessary tests that night when she fell ill. Do you think I don't know whether she's sick or not? I pulled out the medical report from that day. Read it carefully. All of you. And those who were barking like dogs earlier, you owe me an apology. After passing the report around, the classmates reluctantly fell silent. The document ended up in Hee-jing's hands. The results clearly show I don't have any medical condition, the homeroom teacher said angrily. Shannan just has pre-exam syndrome causing stomachache and restroom urgency. How could that compare to Zhou Rant's situation? The classmates all fell silent. The smile vanished from He Jing's eyes the moment he finished reading the list. His head jerked up as he stared at me in disbelief. I met his gaze with icy composure. My glare sent chills down his spine. Nan, you. I shot him a look of disgust. He Jing, get the hell away from me. You make me sick to my stomach. With that, I returned to my seat and began working through practice problems. Leaving He Jing to endure the scrutinizing gazes of classmates and our homeroom teacher, the homeroom teacher said disapprovingly, He Jing, Shen Nan represents our entire school's hopes. Her academic success will inspire countless underclassmen to follow. Could you stop holding her back? I'm begging you as your teacher. Her score is 3 1/3 times yours. How can you even have the nerve? He Jing turned deathly pale and staggered back to his seat. All day long, his ghostly stare followed me. When classmates asked him to visit Su Ran at the hospital together, he refused. He Jing and I are nothing alike. I earned my place in this high school, while his family bought his way in. Before he transferred here, everyone knew I was an orphan, yet no one ever mocked me for it. They even crowdfunded my tuition together, encouraging me to focus on my studies. Ever since He Jing arrived, any guy who gets close to me, he'd go and tell everyone about it. His grandmother took me in off the streets. I was his child bride. I'm meant to marry him someday. Since I've eaten the He family's rice, I belong to the He family now. High school life was pretty monotonous for everyone, especially in top-tier high schools, with endless cram sessions and mountains of test papers. Under that kind of intense pressure, when gossip like that surfaced, it practically swept through the entire grade. I became the laughingstock of everyone. Whenever people saw me, they'd start teasing He Jing. He Jing, your child bride is here. The jeering laughter humiliated me, grinding my fragile self-esteem into the dirt. He Jing was thoroughly enjoying it. With Su Ran fanning the flames, everyone formed a terrible impression of me. They said I bullied Su Ran out of jealousy for her beauty. The label of copycat haunted my youth like an inescapable nightmare, shadowing my every step. Escaping these mountains and getting out of this county town became my sole reason for enduring high school. When school let out that afternoon, He Jing approached me with his usual bag of tricks. To be fair, He Jing was quite easy on the eyes. He knows his strengths and plays the victim card masterfully in front of me. Every single time, before I even feel sorry for him, other girls would jump to his defense. Nan, Grandma made dinner and is waiting for you to come home. I packed my books into my bag. I'm not going back. He Jing, I'm never coming back again. A flicker of panic flashed in his eyes. What do you mean? Literally what it says. I handed him an official form stamped with the relevant department's seal. It clearly stated the termination of adoptive relationship. He Jing, I have no ties with your He family anymore, nor with you. If you keep spreading lies about me being your child bride destined to marry you, I'll sue your grandmother for child trafficking and unlawful confinement. He Jia stared at the words on the watch, lips trembling. Shen Nan, how could you do this? My grandmother raised you all these years. How could you be so ungrateful? And now you're slandering her like this. More and more classmates gathered to watch the commotion. The school gives a day and a half off every Friday, so students from other classes often come to ours while waiting for friends. The classroom was packed with onlookers, both inside and out. He Jing's booming voice reached everyone's ears. The chorus of condemnation against me rose once more. Though He Jing performed poorly academically, he excelled at crafting loaded narratives. He always puts people on a moral pedestal just to criticize them, then positions himself as the most innocent party. I sneered. Your grandmother only took me in to save on your future bride price. I came to your home and had to stand on a stool learning to cook at just 4 years old. I didn't even have decent clothes to wear. In the dead of winter, my feet turned blue from the cold while you got to warm yourself by the fire. When we reached school age, you went to class while I stayed home cutting pigweed and feeding chickens. The village secretary visited multiple times, saying education was compulsory, but your grandmother wouldn't even register me for household registration. Terrified I might run away, in the end, the village party secretary said your grandmother had no legal guardianship over me, so they were going to send me to an orphanage. Your grandmother only registered my household residency because she was afraid I'd run away. It wasn't until the police came that I could finally attend school. I was only 16 that year, just a sophomore in high school. He Jing flushed with humiliation before suddenly glaring at me and roaring, "Shut your mouth." I sneered defiantly, though my eyes grew increasingly bloodshot as I spoke. Why shouldn't I speak? Didn't you call me ungrateful? Didn't you claim your grandmother raised me? when I was just 14, your grandmother locked you in my room at midnight. I want you to force yourself on me, take my body, then I can't run away anymore, and I'll have no choice but to marry you. If I hadn't stabbed myself with scissors and scared you off, you and your grandmother would have ruined me long ago. You're just counting on this being about my reputation, aren't you? That as a girl, I'd be too ashamed to speak up. That's why you've been so brazen. Jing, I've shed all shame now. All I want is to ace my college entrance exams and live a decent life. You claim your grandmother raised me. Have I ever taken a single penny from your family all these years? My tuition and living expenses were fully covered. I worked side jobs in my free time. Yet back at your place I did all the chores. Hell, your grandmother even took my earnings. What exactly has your family ever done for me? What kindness? What loyalty? I advanced step by step, each word striking like a hammer blow. The previously quiet classroom erupted into a chorus of curses directed at Jing. Have you no shame? Jing, after all the things you've been saying about this, you made everyone think you and the class monitor were an item. When it was just your pathetic one-sided crush, this is practically human trafficking. The class monitor's grades are stellar, yet Jing still acts like a delusional toad-eyeing swan meat. That poor class monitor suffers worse than child labor. A torrent of verbal abuse kept slapping Jing across the face. After all, he's just a high school senior, that age when pride and self-respect mean everything. He kicked over a nearby desk with a furious roar, shoving through the crowd to escape. The desk belonged to the class athletic committee member. The committee member grabbed Jing by the collar. What's your problem? Jing, can't take the heat. Why the hell are you kicking my desk? Don't you have your own damn desk? Jing punched the class rep square in the face. Get your hands off me, asshole. The two started brawling, inevitably knocking into nearby classmates. Male classmates who'd always disliked Jing quickly joined the fray. What began as a fistfight between two soon escalated into a full-blown brawl. I deliberately ignored Jing's cries of pain, calmly gathering my belongings with practiced indifference. As I slung my backpack over my shoulder and slipped out the back door, I ran straight into our homeroom teacher waiting at the entrance. He looked at me with unreadable eyes. I don't know how long I'd been listening. My lips parted, then I lowered my gaze. Through 2 lifetimes, I've carried nothing but shame toward this mentor. He had high expectations for me and spared no effort to help me throughout those 3 years. The 9-year compulsory education only waived my tuition fees. There were still living expenses and textbook costs at school, especially the photocopying fees for exam papers at our elite high school, which became a significant financial burden for me. In my previous life, I thought it was only after our homeroom teacher repeatedly pleaded with the principal that my living expenses, textbook fees, and copying costs were waived. It wasn't until years later when I returned home and ran into a retired teacher from the school that I finally learned the truth. The principal had only agreed to waive my living expenses. All other fees had been quietly covered by my homeroom teacher, but that wasn't all. He noticed I'd spend my 1 day off each week doing odd jobs, backbreaking manual labor. When he found out, he paid me to tutor his elementary school son at his home. It sounds ridiculous now. I didn't understand the significance of this until I grew up. With years of teaching experience, how could a homeroom teacher possibly fail to educate an elementary school child? He was clearly going all out to help me, yet still mindful of my fragile adolescent pride, now living a second life. Meeting his gaze brought an unexpected lump to my throat. He reached out and patted my shoulder. Shannan, even phoenixes can rise from mountain villages. Just as phoenix trees grow in valleys, you'll definitely live the life you've dreamed of. His eyes were slightly reddened as my gaze swept over our classmates nearby. Their eyes held either shame or guilt, but not a trace of mockery. That night, I was sound asleep in the dorm. The dorm supervisor called me down to answer the phone. Jing's voice trembled with grievance on the other end of the line. Nan, don't hang up. I need to talk to you. You know everything now, don't you? Suran drugged you, but I had nothing to do with it. Nan, you can't blame me for this. I fought back nausea. Our accomplice is really innocent. His voice choked with emotion. Nan, I was just afraid you'd leave me, afraid that after getting into a good university, you'd meet someone new and abandon me. I can't live without you. I let out a scornful laugh. Jing, we were never together. Could you stop being so full of yourself? He gasped sharply. You're still mad at me, aren't you? And about the college entrance exams, Nan, even if you rank in the top 10, your tuition would still be sponsored. Even if no one else supports you, I'll earn the money to put you through school. Nan, I'll prove to you how determined I am to make things right. I hung up before he could respond, after returning to school. Saran cornered He Jing between classes. Why haven't you come to see me in the hospital all these days? He Jing shot me a glance before snapping at her with deliberate detachment. Just stay away from me. Su Ran's eyes welled up instantly. What do you mean? I wouldn't have gotten sick if I hadn't drunk that water you gave me. He Jing shoved her away abruptly. Are you out of your mind? I never fetched you any water. He looked at me pleadingly. Nan, I swear I never poured water for her. I let out a scoff and ignored him. Saran suddenly realized something, strode over in 2 steps, and grabbed my wrist forcefully. It was you, wasn't it? I slapped her hand hard. I don't understand what you're saying, Saran said angrily. Are you getting back at me? Why would I want revenge? What exactly did you do to deserve it? Tough question. Saran arched an eyebrow, glancing at He Jing, who averted his gaze. Saran let out a cold laugh. Nan, aren't you afraid I'll call the police? Your life would be ruined, I smiled. Then go check the surveillance footage. He Jing was too guilty to even look at me, and slipped out through the back door. Only Saran and I remained in the classroom. Saran stood with arms crossed, looking down at me with condescension. Who would have thought? Nan, all these years you've been putting on such an act. Turns out you're just petty and vindictive at heart, but what's the point of your revenge? You still missed the unified exam. The top spot is mine, the school's only direct admission quota is mine, the full 4-year tuition waiver goes to me. Truth is, I don't need those exam rewards at all, but since I know they're your last hope, I'm just not giving them to you. Enjoy rotting in this backwater town for the rest of your life. I let out a careless chuckle. Oh really? We'll see about that. Saran tilted her head back with a contemptuous snicker. Keep pretending then. The joint exam results came out during evening study hall. The homeroom teacher placed the printed score sheet on the lectern. He cradled his thermos with a beaming smile. Come up and take a look. Saran sat smugly in his seat, staring at me motionlessly with unmistakable challenge in his eyes. I took a sip of water and remained still. I let the other students crowd around the podium to check the scoreboard. Saran waited for her classmates to exclaim her name in surprise, but what came instead was, the gap between first and second place is insane, over 100 points difference. Holy cow. Saran's grin was practically splitting her face, but the next moment, our class president is killing it. The school beauty isn't even in the same league. Saran's face flushed crimson as she sprang to her feet. What are you saying? This can't be true. Like a madwoman, she shoved her classmates aside, rushed to the podium, grabbed the score sheet, and stared at it wide-eyed again and again. No matter how hard she beat her own head or blinked her eyes in disbelief, the name Nan still stared back at me. Her hands trembled as she looked at me with bloodshot eyes. Completely broken, she rushed up to me and lashed out. You lied to me, Nan, you lied. I grabbed her hand and whispered coldly in her ear. Do you know why I didn't retaliate when you sabotaged my college entrance exam? Because crushing you would have been effortless for me. I wanted you to see the insurmountable gap between us. Saran, when you're outmatched, you've got to admit it. I shook off her hand, and she collapsed to the ground in hysterical sobs, just like my past self. In my previous life, when I woke up realizing I'd missed the college entrance exams, my world came crashing down, everything turned pitch black. At least there's still the college entrance exam, but after missing that too, I just wanted to die. Later, He Jing and I went south for work, and I kept earning money to self-study for the exams, those joint practice tests and college entrance exams I missed that year. For years afterward, I could recite it backward in my sleep, because it was the life I let slip away. When He Jing returned from sports practice and heard I'd topped the entrance exams, he froze for several seconds before falling silent. Unlike Saran's emotional outburst and screaming, he remained composed. Yet I found myself face to face with an unexpected visitor, Saran's father. The man gave me a faint smile in the principal's office. He owns a large supermarket in the city, and his hometown is just a stone's throw from the He family's place. I called him Uncle Sue for 18 years. He watched the He family abuse me, even nearly making me stateless, yet never showed me an ounce of mercy. From the villagers' gossip, I pieced together the story of Su Wenyuan's ex-wife, my mother. She died from massive hemorrhage during a difficult childbirth. Both mother and child were dead. Within 2 weeks of their deaths, Su Wenyuan brought home a heavily pregnant woman on the verge of delivery. That woman was Saran's mother. After the principal left, only Su Wenyuan and I remained in the office. He looked at me with a tender smile, his face full of paternal affection. You've grown up so well, what an achievement. You're the first child from our village to get into a prestigious university, truly remarkable." The more he looked at me, the more pleased he became. It wasn't the gaze of a father looking at his daughter, but rather at his own pride and trophy. I said distantly, "Uncle Sue, is there something you need?" He sighed, his eyes instantly reddening. Nan, the truth is, I'm your father. I couldn't acknowledge you before because of your Aunt Zhang. Now that you're grown and about to start college. Even if she divorces me, I still want you back in my life. I don't believe you, having lived 2 lifetimes. Acting came naturally to me now. Su Wenyuan took me to the hospital for a DNA test. When the results came, I collapsed into his arms, sobbing uncontrollably. "Dad, you never knew how much I wished you were my father when I saw you doting on Ranran as a child. I never imagined you actually were my father." Su Wenyuan took me back to the countryside villa he'd built. When Su Ran saw me, she completely lost it, charging over to shove me violently. I collapsed to the ground, silent tears streaming down my face. Su Wenyuan saw red and slapped Su Ran across the face. "She's your elder sister. How dare you? Get back to your room this instant." Su Ran fled in tears while Auntie Zhang stood by, grinding her teeth in fury. With Su Wenyuan's help, I finally managed to transfer my household registration out of the He family. Grandma He had stubbornly refused at first. Su Wenyuan hired some local thugs to provide security for his supermarket. He Jing got ambushed several times on his way home, beaten black and blue with sacks thrown over his head. The worst time, they broke his leg. "Granny," he wailed like a banshee before finally handing over my household register. I successfully transferred my household registration out of the He family. What seemed impossible for me was child's play for Su Wenyuan. It takes a thief to catch a thief. After getting the direct admission, I no longer needed to attend school. I stayed home cooking meals and preparing soups for Su Wenyuan daily, playing the role of a dutiful daughter to perfection. These were all things Su Ran had never done before. Su Ran is utterly spoiled. With her as comparison, even my smallest virtues get magnified in Su Wenyuan's eyes. Hearing Su Wenyuan praise me daily drove Su Ran into worsening emotional turmoil. She couldn't stand me fawning over Su Wenyuan, nor him showing me any kindness. She couldn't bear the sight of our father-daughter affection. She threw tantrums, she wept, she smashed plates and bowls. Then Su Wenyuan would scold her, sometimes even resorting to physical violence when things got really bad. And so, every day in the Su household became trapped in this vicious cycle. Under this emotional strain, Su Ran found it impossible to focus on her studies. On the day of the college entrance exam, I showed up right on time. She glared at me furiously. "What are you doing here?" I chuckled. "Take the test again, and I'll show you." Losing to me was no fluke. I looked into her eyes. "It's just the way things are. You'll always be my loser. Every time, you'll lose to me. That's your fate, Su Ran. You must accept your destiny." Her eyes burned with rage and hatred, but beneath it all lay sheer terror. I walked into the examination hall while she remained frozen in place. I messed with her head. When the college entrance exam results came out, Su Ran scored over 200 points less than me, barely scraping into a second-tier university. Su Wenyuan looked disgusted. "Couldn't even get into a top-tier university. After all the money I've poured into you over the years, the tutoring fees alone could have bought an apartment in the city. Useless waste." Su Ran broke down in uncontrollable sobs. I brought out the soup I'd been simmering. "Dad, please don't be angry, have some soup first. You're not in good health, you really need to take care of yourself." Aunt Zhang was so furious she knocked over my soup and came at me. Su Wenyuan slapped him right back. The house was in complete chaos. I packed my bags noisily in the dead of night, making sure to be heard. Sure enough, Su Wenyuan came out to see what I was up to. I sobbed quietly. "Mom's gone, and now you're all I have left. Dad, as much as I want to live with you, I don't want to disrupt your life. I found a part-time job at an education center in Beijing. I'll call you often to check in when I can." Su Wenyuan wiped his tears with the back of his hand and handed me a bank card. "There's 150,000 yuan in this card. Use it for now, and let me know if you need more." I politely declined for a while before finally accepting it. During my college years, my outstanding academic performance made Su Wenyuan the envy of all our rural relatives. Compared to me, Su Ran started seeming ungrateful. Su Wenyuan and Su Ran's mother fought constantly. What kind of feelings could you expect from a cheating husband who abandoned his wife and daughter? God knows how many women Su Wenyuan had on the side. I played the sweet-talking viper to perfection, conning Su Wenyuan into funding my master's, PhD, and ultimately my study abroad. For uneducated status-obsessed men like Su Wenyuan, the prestige halo of advanced degrees is downright intoxicating. After returning from overseas, I took a job at Su Wenyuan's supermarket. Within 2 years, I'd successfully siphoned off all his assets, leaving the supermarket a hollow shell, and I left this place too. My household registration was transferred with my university enrollment years ago. Su Ran's mother divorced Su Wenyuan, who nearly lost his mind. Years of debauchery had drained his vitality. He was terminally ill and had called me countless times. I reluctantly answered his call just before changing my SIM card. He begged me for medical expenses, pleading for help. I just smiled and said, "Uncle Su, my mother's been gone 18 years. You've overstayed your welcome by just as long. Hurry up and join her. You won't get a dime from me while you're alive, but after you're gone, I'll cover every penny for your funeral." I hung up before his curses could reach me. He didn't make it through the winter. On the day I died, I stepped back into this city I'd once loathed with every fiber of my being. At Su Wenyuan's funeral, I had them write my mother's name instead. The opera singers, drummers, and monks chanting sutras. I arranged them all for my mother. I even had my mother's grave rebuilt. The guests were utterly dumbfounded, yet none dared to speak up. The stage performance was in full swing while the banquet guests dined contentedly. Someone murmured under their breath, "It was He Jing who pushed me away." The two of them grappled violently, and Su Ran severed He Jing's hand with a single slash. As the police hauled Su Ran away, he kept hurling curses at me. Before the ambulance took He Jing away, he gave me a faint smile. "Nan Nan, thank goodness you're all right." I smirked sarcastically. "Another scheme you and Saran cooked up together, huh? You really went all out this time." "He Jing, what if that hand never heals properly?" His face instantly drained of color. He opened his mouth as if to speak, but ultimately pressed his lips together in silent defeat. "Nan Nan, I'm sorry, don't, it makes me sick." After the funeral, I buried Su Wenyuan far, far away. When he buried my mother, there wasn't even a tombstone, just a small mound of earth. Now I'd done the same to him. I lied to him, even after death. I couldn't bring myself to spend money on him. After all, I'm flat broke. Uncle Su should understand me, right? The end. Next story. In my previous life, Shin Yenzhou, as a representative of the jury, blocked my promotion qualification for 10 years. He said, "As my wife, you must avoid suspicion. It's only the second year. There's still a chance." Year 5. Lin Rui, you should give more opportunities to young people. If the older generation hadn't retired, how could it have been so easy for us to get a job at a research institute? In the last year, I knew that if I didn't get promoted I would have to retire, so I begged him for help. But the next day, the first person on the promotion list was his white moonlight. This time, he who always sounded dignified, he actually used all his connections to reject me again. I was filled with endless regret and was so angry that I almost died. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day when I received my promotion application. 1. Lin Rui, I'm going to work. Remember to go find the teacher and get your suspension application back. I heard the door close and I sat up suddenly from the bed. Looking at this old house that was built 30 or 40 years ago, I realized that I was truly reborn, back to 1977. This year is our second year of marriage. Shin Yenzhou and I were admitted to Northwestern Polytechnical University together, but just last night, because Shin Yenzhou's mother broke her leg, the result of our discussion was, I withdrew my application for suspension, gave up the opportunity to go to college, and stayed to continue working in the military factory. He went to Northwestern University as planned. I wanted to continue to take the college entrance examination the following year, but I got pregnant and had to put my plan on hold. Later, we were separated for more than 10 years. Over the years, I had been raising my children and taking care of my parents by myself while working, but when I finally became a technician and just entered the research institute, Shin Yenzhou came back. Because of his outstanding resume, he became the head of the research institute. Later, I spent 10 years trying to make further progress, but was stuck every year. He rejected me in the first year, because I was his wife. She was afraid of gossip, so she rejected me. Let me take the exam again next year. The next year, he said I still had a chance and could learn more skills and knowledge. Until the 5th year, I was still the one who was eliminated. I asked humiliatedly why. Why did the leaders of the entire research institute think that I had strong skills? But he was the one who rejected me. He was silent for a while and then said, Lin Rui, you should give more opportunities to young people. If the older generation hadn't retired, How could it have been so easy for us to get a job at a research institute? In the last year, I knew that if I didn't get promoted I would have to retire, so I begged him for help, but the next day, the first person on the promotion list was his white moonlight. This time, he has always been pompous. He actually used all his connections to reject me again. Took me the last time, opportunities for advancement. That's when I knew. It turns out that we were separated for more than 10 years. There is always someone by Shinyenjo's side. That person remained alone all his life for him, no marriage, no children, just to be with him forever. Finally, he couldn't bear to see her leave the institute, so he rejected me. The moment I saw the list, I subconsciously looked at the two of them. Shinyenjo felt relieved, and the woman cried with joy, and I felt like a sacrifice in their shameful and tacit agreement. Think of this. I covered my face with my hands trembling. Tears falling from between my fingers like beads from a broken string, quickly soaking the bedding. This is a stupid decision. I spent my whole life to repay it, too. After I calmed down, I made breakfast and ate it calmly. I went to the factory to find the leader again. Application. I haven't submitted it yet. Why did you change your mind? I smiled sheepishly. I'm really sorry, leader. The leader waved his hand and returned the application to me. Comrade Lin. It is an honor for our factory that you were admitted to Northwestern Polytechnical University. The day before yesterday, I was still trying to persuade Comrade Shin that it would be a pity if you didn't go. I didn't expect that you would change your mind today. It seems that Comrade Shin's words are still effective. I smiled, took the application form, thanked my leader, and then left the factory. As soon as I left the factory, I tore up the application form and threw it into the trash can. Looking at the debris in the trash can, I couldn't help but smile to myself. It turned out that the leader had advised Shinyenjo to let me go to the Northwest, but he never mentioned it. He even urged me to come earlier to get the application form. In my previous life, I used my own financial future to support him so that he could study peacefully, but he found a close female friend in college who shared his feelings with him. This also blocked my promotion opportunity for that year. In the last year, he even used all his connections to keep Bai Yuiguang and get rid of me. 3. I returned home with red eyes. He sat there in a daze for most of the day before he stood up and packed up his luggage. School is about to start and the journey is long. The train ticket I bought before has been taken away by Shinyenjo, who said he would help me refund it. When I bought the ticket, there were no tickets available for the same day. So there was a day between me and going to the Northwest. I left a day early, which means I bought a ticket for tomorrow morning. I have to find a way to get the ticket back, otherwise it might be too late to buy another one. I made lunch in silence, just treat it as, it is for myself and Shinyenjo in past and present lives. Let's have a farewell dinner. 4. When Shinyenjo came back, the last dish was just served. Here is the prescription. You need to go to the pharmacy to get your medicine every week. Shinyenjo handed me the documents in his hand. I'm leaving the day after tomorrow. Shall we go to the photo studio and take some pictures together tomorrow? I think of my past life. Before he left, he also took me to take a photo. For the next 10 years, he lived a carefree life, and I spend my days guarding this photo, take care of his parents for him, take care of children, and also sacrificed his own future. I pulled the corner of my mouth and said, okay, wait until you can find me tomorrow. While eating, I asked him, by the way, have I refunded my train ticket? Shinyenjo didn't even raise his head. Not yet. I was planning to go this afternoon. What's wrong? Give me the ticket. I'll go and return it. I paused. I just happen to have time. It just so happens that I need to get a certificate this afternoon, and I'm worried that I won't have enough time to return it. Shinyenjo handed me the ticket. I held the ticket in my hand and breathed a sigh of relief. Afternoon. After Shinyenjo left, I took out all the things we usually use at home. Give away what you want to give away, and sell what you can sell. 5. That night, when Shinyenjo came back, he also brought his mother back with him. In his previous life, Shinyenjo would not bring his mother over until the next day, so when I saw him bring the person back, I was stunned for a moment. What's with that expression on your face? Don't you welcome me? Shinyenjo grew up in a single-parent family. It wasn't easy for his mother to raise him, so he is very filial and his mother is also very strong. In my previous life, I understood how difficult it was for her, so I went along with her in everything. However, even though I served her for more than 10 years, until her death, she was still extremely picky about me. Now that I've been reborn, I naturally won't spoil her. Shin Yenjo didn't tell you that you would come today, so the house hasn't been cleaned up yet. You have to wait." When Shin Yenjo heard me calling him by his name, he looked at me in surprise. Because I used to call him Ian, he thought I was unhappy because he suddenly brought his mother over, so I hurriedly explained, "I just happened to go get some information today, and a good friend of mine happened to have a car, so I went to pick up my mom anyway. It doesn't matter whether I answer it today or tomorrow, it's all the same." Seeing that her son was trying to please me and even had to explain to me why he brought her back home, Shin's mother looked unhappy. Shin Yenjo saw that his mother was unhappy, so he hurriedly spoke, "Let's give our room to mom first, and we'll live in the other room. I don't care, I'm leaving tomorrow, so it doesn't matter where I live." Mother Shin moved into our room and her complexion became better. But it's not peaceful. Sometimes she asked me to serve tea, sometimes she asked me to pour water, and sometimes she asked me to wash her feet. I was tidying up another room and pretended not to hear. Seeing that I had a stern face, Shin Yenjo did everything himself. After I had finally packed up my supplies, he lay down on the bed and cried out that he was exhausted. "Arui, my mom is a very particular person. You should pay more attention to her in the future, okay? Don't let her feel uncomfortable living here." "Oh," I responded casually. As soon as I lay down on the bed, Shin Yenjo came over. I moved aside in annoyance. "Your mother is next door." His breath fanned my neck, and his hand reached in from under my shirt. "She won't hear it." But just as he finished speaking, he heard Shin's mother say, "Lin Rue, come and help me go to the toilet." I closed my eyes in mockery. Shin Yenjo stood up resigned to his fate. "Where's your wife? Why are you here again? Go to bed quickly, I can handle it myself. You have to meet your friends tomorrow, and you'll be leaving for the Northwest the day after tomorrow, so don't get too tired." Then I heard a lot of ping-pong sounds. It was obvious that Shin's mother was deliberately making noises to express her dissatisfaction. I automatically blocked out Shin's mother's words and fell asleep quickly. 6. I woke up at 6 o'clock the next day. When Shin Yenjo heard me get up, he thought I was going to buy groceries. "Mom likes to eat pork liver, see if you can buy some for me." I didn't even turn my head. After washing up, I took the luggage that had been prepared long ago and took the train to the train station. When I arrived at the train station, I felt hungry and bought a few pancakes from a stall outside the station. I originally wanted to make some pancakes at home yesterday to eat on the way, but Shin's mother came. In order to avoid trouble, I had to give up. After 4 days of swaying on the train, I was exhausted by the time I arrived at school. After completing all the formalities, I fell into a deep sleep on my bed in the dormitory. I was woken up by several roommates. Like me, they came here from all over the world. After everyone had rested enough, they planned to go to the cafeteria to eat together. On the first day of school, I thought I would not see Shin Yenjo in class. After all, his mother still needs someone to take care of her. But in the blink of an eye, I saw him push open the door and walk towards me aggressively. 7. Shin Yenjo roughly pulled me to the playground outside the classroom. "Lin Rue, what are you doing?" Shin Yenjo looked very angry, as if I had done something extremely treasonous. "What the hell are you doing? Didn't we agree that you would give up going to college and stay at home to take care of mom? Why did you come to the Northwest without telling me? Do you know that my mother is alone at home with no one to take care of her? How are you going to let her live in the future?" Huh. After saying that, he roughly pulled me forward. "Go, pack your things and get back here now. I've already told the teacher at school and told you to take a temporary leave of absence." I slammed his hand away. "What did you say?" Shin Yenjo looked at me with a sneer. "Lin Rue, what on earth are you doing? Do you still look like a wife? You left my mother at home and enjoy yourself here. Do you have a clear conscience?" I stared at Shin Yenjo blankly. I felt that the person in front of me was extremely unfamiliar to me, even though I had lived with him for my whole life in my previous life. "You mean your mother is injured, as a daughter-in-law? It is my duty to give up everything and stay to take care of her, and I came here to study at the university that I went through so much trouble to get into, just to make trouble, to enjoy myself. Is that what you mean?" Looking at my extremely unfamiliar expression, Shin Yenjo's breath was held. He seemed to have really calmed down at this moment. He couldn't help but come over and hold my hand. "I'm sorry, Rue, it's my fault. I was just too excited," he argued. "But that's also because I saw that you were suddenly gone, and your things were gone too. But, we clearly agreed that you would give up your studies temporarily and stay at home to take care of mom. Didn't we agree on this in advance? But you came here without saying a word. You said you left a mess at home. What do you want me to do?" Shin Yenjo looked haggard. It seems that not only did he not sleep well during the few days on the train, but he must have also had a hard time during the 2 days at home, too. In her previous life, her mother was difficult to take care of. When I was taking care of her, I had to get up many times a night. For several months, I hardly had a good night's sleep, but who has ever understood the hardships I went through in my previous life? And Shinyenjo had only taken care of his mother for 2 nights. How come his mother has become a mess? I sneered. Shinyenjo, yes. We agreed before that I would give up my studies and stay at home to take care of your mother, but you've only been taking care of her for 2 days, right? How is it? Is it easy? That's your own mother. Even you think that's a mess. Why can you just pass this mess on to me? Shinyenjo was furious. Why? Because she's my mother. She's your mother-in-law. Why do you say that? I lost my father when I was young. It was my mother who raised me and helped me get married. My mom has arranged everything for me, but what about now? I can't stand it anymore. Shinyenjo, you also know that's your mother, not my mother. Your mother has had a hard time, she works very hard. Isn't that caused by you as her son? It's caused by your father. But, what right do you have to ask me, your daughter-in-law, to pay it back, just because I married you? Should I give up everything and work like a slave in your Zhou family? Shinyenjo, pa. Shinyenjo became furious and slapped me directly, my face unconsciously tilted to one side. Hey, why did they start fighting? Yeah, what happened? Tisk tsk, a grown man hitting someone, you are worse than pigs and dogs. I poked my tingling cheek with my tongue. It was a long while before I looked up. Shinyenjo put his hands behind his back and said guiltily, Arui, I'm sorry, I'm not, let's get a divorce. Shinyenjo, I said calmly. What? Shinyenjo's face suddenly turned pale. I said, let's get divorced. After I finished speaking word by word, I turned and walked towards the department head's office. 8. In fact, the idea of divorce, I had it on the first day I was reborn. However, if I had brought it up at that time, I'm afraid this trip would not have been so smooth, so I've been enduring it. Unexpectedly, Shinyenjo would cruelly abandon his old mother and still come to school. What's even more despicable is that as soon as I arrived at school, I went to find the teacher without permission and told him that I had to give up my studies. Oh, that sounds good. I'll take the exam again next year. Let's not talk about whether I can pass the exam next year. The fact that he totally ignored me made me feel extremely disgusted. In my previous life, what did I get for him, for the children, and for that marriage? It was he who found his confidant in college. After he became my leader, he blocked my promotion opportunities for 10 consecutive years. Every time I tell my children about my grievances, they always stand on his side, thinking that it is not easy for their dad either. I think it's good for me to take care of them both at home. As for my wishes, my dreams, my future, in their eyes, it's not worth mentioning. I've already taken the wrong path once, and I absolutely will not let myself fall again. 9. When I explained to the department head that Shinyenjo's mother had only broken her leg and was not paralyzed in bed and needed constant care, the department head also felt speechless. My grades were very good, even 40 points higher than Shinyenjo's. In addition, I worked in a military factory for 3 years and was an outstanding employee in the factory. Not only does he possess some confidential knowledge, but his math scores are also quite outstanding, in the eyes of school leaders. My abilities are definitely much better than those of Shinyenjo, who was admitted to university solely based on his grades. At this time, everyone is saying that women can hold up half the sky. Many scientists and researchers are women. Many women have even devoted almost their entire lives to scientific research. So the department head did not think that I should give up my future and help a man who was not as good as me just because I was a woman. When the department head asked about the slap marks on my face, of course I did not hide anything and told Director Su that I was beaten by Shinyenjo. Comrade Lin, you can stay here without worry and study hard. The motherland needs talents like you. You don't need to worry about other things. Just go back without worry. With the school teacher's words, I finally felt relieved, as expected of a top university in the country. The teacher did not believe Shinyenjo's words just because of my gender and thought that I should give up my studies and go back to take care of the elderly. I thanked the teacher gratefully and returned to the classroom. I don't know how the school leaders handled the matter next. Anyway, after Shinyenjo was called away once, he never told me again when he came back that he wanted me to give up my studies and go back to take care of his mother. And I also devoted myself to the ocean of learning. It was more than half a month later when Shinyenjo stopped me again. Lin Rui, how long are you going to make trouble? For so many days, you never asked me if I had enough to eat or if I was warm enough to wear. You even didn't wash my clothes. What on earth do you want to do? I looked up, after looking at Shinyenjo for a while. I remembered that Shinyenjo had also come to school. I rubbed my sore eyes. First of all, I didn't make a scene. Secondly, whether you eat well, wear warm clothes, or even wash your own clothes has nothing to do with me. I told you before, we're getting a divorce. If you've thought it through, we can go through the formalities right away. If not, please stay away from me. I still have a lot of books to read and I don't have time to chat with Shinyenjo about these trivial things. Lin Rui, are you serious? Do you really want to divorce me? Shinyenjo seemed very surprised. I thought I made it clear that day. I looked at him coldly. Shinyenjo couldn't believe it. Just because I asked you to go back and take care of my mom, you want to divorce me? Even after more than half a month of school, you're still angry and ignoring me. Do you really need to? Before I could say anything, someone called out from afar, Student Shin. I looked up and saw a woman in a white dress with long black hair draped softly over her chest. She came in front of us and stood beside Shinyenjo. Student Shin, this is my sister-in-law, right? After saying that, he looked at me again, his eyes full of persuasion. Sister-in-law, I heard that you left your mother-in-law behind and insisted on coming to school, and because classmate Shin advised you a few words, you are still angry. I'm not saying anything bad about you, but as a wife, you still have to be filial, otherwise, even a good man like Mr. Shin will become cold-hearted. Shinyenjo pursed his lips and said, Lin Rui, is what you just said true? Before I could say anything, the woman interrupted again, glancing back and forth between us with a curious look. What are you guys talking about? She looked at me curiously with her wet eyes. Sister-in-law, what did you say? Why is brother Shin so angry? Good job. Just now it was classmate Shin, now he called her affectionately. I pulled the corner of my mouth. Who are you? What does our conversation as husband and wife have to do with you? You're so eager to come up to me. Don't you have any thoughts about your elder brother Shin? I sneered disdainfully. The woman in front of me is called Anya. In the previous life, she was Shinyenjo's confidant in college. In my last year of promotion, she was the woman who made Shinyenjo do everything he could to eliminate me for her, Anya. But what I didn't expect was, in this life, Shinyenjo had only been in school for more than half a month, and he was already involved with Anya again. It seems that they are really destined to be together. Anya's originally curious and innocent look was rebuked by me. She was stunned for a moment, and then her eyes quickly filled with tears. How could you say that to me? Anya looked at me in disbelief, then ran away wiping her tears in humiliation, a white dress fluttering in the wind. The thin figure looks like a piece of jade that will break at any time, which is heartbreaking. Lin Rui, what are you talking about? Shinyenjo looked at the woman running away with heartache, then turned around and started to speak harshly to me. Pa, I slapped him hard. He covered his face and looked at me in disbelief. Lin Rui, what are you crazy about? Pa, I slapped him again with my backhand. Lin Rui. Shinyenjo was furious and raised his hand. I took a step back and said, Shinyenjo, I'm at school, but you're flirting with other women. Aren't you afraid that I'll go to the teacher and report you? Shinyenjo was furious, and I have nothing. We are just close friends. I almost vomited when I heard that. Oh, I walked coldly past Shinyenjo and returned to the dormitory. Now that they haven't done anything too outrageous, I naturally won't say much, and I don't want to focus all my attention on them, since Shinyenjo doesn't want to leave now. Let's just drag it out. The first semester passed quickly. Because I had outstanding grades and had worked in a military factory before, I took a secret mission before the holiday of the first semester and went to a research institute for a year. No one knows about this. Naturally, I didn't tell Shinyenjo about it. 11. A year passed in the blink of an eye. I returned to school only when my work at the research institute came to an end. I will graduate in half a year. I need to come back early to handle the formalities. After graduation, I will go directly to the research institute. As soon as I came back, my roommates who I hadn't seen for a long time were all surprised. We agreed to go to the cafeteria for dinner, but I didn't expect that as soon as I entered the door, I saw Shinyenjo and Anya sitting together intimately. The two of them were almost leaning against each other, their movements intimate, like a couple in love. My roommate looked at me awkwardly. Lin Rui, you don't know yet, your husband Shinyenjo is a popular figure in school because of his excellent grades. There are many people who secretly like him. Look, that one is the one closest to her. I knew that my roommate was referring to was Anya. I nodded and said nothing. Shinyenjo has a good appearance and good grades. If it weren't for this, Anya in her previous life wouldn't have stayed single for his whole life. In the end, she almost became his white moonlight. It was just a matter between the two of them, but there were a lot of rumors in school. It's just because I, the real person, didn't say anything, so everyone just watched. But now that I'm back, I think the issue of my divorce with Shinyenjo should be put on the agenda. I took a wrong step and walked forward. Hey, are you eating? Shinyenjo and Anya paused, and both looked up at me at the same time. Lin Rue, Shinyenjo stood up suddenly. When did you come back? Where have you been this year? Compared to Shinyenjo's excitement, Anya had a calm expression. She stood beside Shinyenjo and looked at me with hostility. I heard that you two are always together in school, showing off. What do you think, Shinyenjo? Should we get a divorce? Shinyenjo's expression changed and he instantly distanced himself from Anya. Anya looked at me subconsciously. Are you really willing to get a divorce? Her roommates looked at her with disdain. Although nothing was said, she could understand the meaning. Anya's face turned red, but she still withstood everyone's mocking gazes and looked at me steadily, as if insisting on an answer. Do you really want a divorce? Shinyenjo wanted to say something, but when he saw the brave Anya, he seemed to be touched. He held Anya's hand tightly and looked at me. Okay, since you want a divorce, I'll grant you that. I nodded, and went with Shinyenjo to get a divorce certificate that same day. I went to the principal's office just after my divorce. I made a detailed report about the affair between Shinyenjo and Anya during the year I was away and gave it to the principal. Compared to Shinyenjo, a student who appears to have good grades but has bad behavior, the principal promised that he would give me a satisfactory explanation. A few days later, I heard that Anya had dropped out of school. Of course, before dropping out of school, she and Shinyenjo had already obtained a marriage certificate. My roommate is very gossipy. You don't know, the school clearly let them choose, only one of them can stay. But that Anya actually took the initiative to say that she would drop out of school and let Shin stay. Tisk tsk. It's not easy for a family to raise a college student. She actually gave up her studies for a man so easily. I really can't understand it. I smiled bitterly and shook my head. She is not the only fool like this. It was me in my previous life, but in this life, it is Anya. But the beneficiary was Shinyenjo. It has to be said that whether in his past life or this life, Shinyenjo is a master of PUA. But after Anya left, Shinyenjo began to appear in front of me more frequently. No matter what he said, if I wasn't so stubborn and didn't understand him, he wouldn't have divorced me. 12. He always asked me indirectly where I had been during the year I disappeared and what my plans were for the future. I know that there has been a rumor in the school recently that 3 people will be selected to go to the research institute. I had great grades but disappeared for a year. This year, no one knew where I went. However, Shinyenjo was a bit more thoughtful. He was worried that I had carried out some secret mission this year and would become one of the people competing with him for a place in the research institute. I turned a blind eye to his various temptations. In fact, what Shinyenjo didn't know was, selecting personnel to join the research institute is one of my tasks when I returned this time. Although Shinyenjo appears to have good grades, he spends most of his time on being close to Anya. It has never been within my consideration. 13. Soon. It was the day to announce the list. On this day, the school auditorium was full of people. Many people looked at the school leader sitting on the stage with trepidation. When the time came, the leader took out a list and read out the names of 3 people selected to join the research institute. Standing on one side of the stage, I saw Shinyenjo clenching his fists tightly. As Xiao Zhang's voice slowly fell, I saw Shinyenjo's face turn pale. Zhou Weigua, Zhongqing, Lu Jing. Among the 3 names, none of them is him. I looked at Shinyenjo's pale face. It was as if I saw my past life. Time and again, I stood in front of Shinyenjo, the judge, like a sinner facing trial. When everyone said I was innocent, Shinyenjo, this man, who is my husband, has sentenced me to death time and time again. After coming back to this world, I became a judge. It feels so refreshing to see Shinyenjo miss his dream. Don't accuse me of abusing my power for personal gain. I selected 3 people from the list. Zhou Weigua's grades are better than Shinyenjo's. Zhang Cheng's practical performance is better than Shinyenjo's. But Lu Jing is a returned talent, and he has core technologies that are better and more powerful than mine. Why should I choose Shinyenjo instead of someone like this? That would be my dereliction of duty. 14. Okay. These are the 3 people who will be entering the Research Institute this time. Please welcome our selected engineer from the Research Institute, Mr. Lin, to the stage to speak. Everyone is warmly welcomed. The principal's words had just fallen. I was invited to the stage. I looked at Shinyenjo in the audience and suddenly stood up. Then a pair of eyes stared at me, as if I had done something wrong to him. I looked away and didn't look at him, after I finished my speech. As soon as I walked out of the auditorium, someone grabbed my hand hard. Lin Rue. Shinyenjo's eyes were red. Why are you selected as a member of the Research Institute? Why did you choose these 3 and not me? You are seeking revenge, aren't you? You hate me for divorcing you and marrying you, aren't you? Do you believe that I will report you for abusing your power for personal gain? I shook off Shinyenjo's hand and said coldly, whatever. Behind him, Shinyenjo punched the wall heavily. Lin Rue, you will regret this. 15. That day, I was called to the office. In the office, Shinyenjo stiffened his neck, obviously very unconvinced. Comrade Lin, Student Shin is obviously very dissatisfied with this personnel selection. Not only did he come to me, he also sent a letter of complaint to the Research Institute, saying that you abused your power for personal gain. So, could you please explain to us why you chose the other 3 people instead of Mr. Shin? The principal glanced at Shinyenjo with a half-smile. It will also make Student Shin convinced. Shinyenjo's face turned pale, but he still stared at me. I sighed, put the prepared materials on the table, then stepped back and said to Shinyenjo, take a look at these. Shinyenjo's unwilling gaze fell on the stack of information. After he finished reading it, he stumbled out of the principal's office in a daze. He lost this battle completely. The information not only shows that the other 3 people's abilities surpass his in all aspects. 2 of them were very quiet and had expressed outstanding insights in their respective fields. Even Zhou Weigua and the leader had met them. As for him, Shinyenjo, he just had slightly better grades and a better-looking face, and was highly praised in school. Even students like this are plentiful in school. Even if he were to choose from this large group of students, Shinyenjo might not be able to rank in the top 10. How can a person like Shinyenjo have the nerve to accuse me of abusing my power for personal gain? I took 3 students with me and disappeared from everyone's sight overnight. 16. It was 20 years later when I returned home again, and I have become the director of a research institute. Mom, is this where you used to live? My adopted children looked at the city where I had lived for more than 10 years with curiosity in their eyes. I smiled and said, yes, look here. This is the former military factory. Your mother worked here for 3 years. Unfortunately, the factory has now become an ordinary steel plant. It's no longer the way I remember it. Hey, are you Lin Rue? I didn't expect that the guard actually recognized me. He walked out of the guard room. Oh, are you really a forest engineer? I heard that you are at the Research Institute now. When did you come back? I didn't expect that the security guard still remembered me, so I chatted with him for a few words. After a few words, a door next to him suddenly opened and a man was driven out by a woman with a broom. Bah. I've been working like a slave for you my whole life, and you still dare to flirt with other women outside. Get out of here. As the door closed, the man turned around with a dark face and wanted to say something, but suddenly noticed our group. The man was stunned for a moment. Lin Rue, Shinyenjo, whose appearance had changed greatly but was still thin, strode towards me. Mom, my son took a step forward and subconsciously stood in front of me. My daughter also held my arm tightly to protect me. Mom, Shinyenjo glanced at the 2 of them, then looked past them and towards me. Lin Rue, is it really you? Are you back? I don't care about the past anymore, so when facing Shinyenjo, I was also very calm. My son saw that we seemed to know each other, so he stepped aside. Shinyenjo's eyes were still fixed on me. Lin Rue, they are all your children. You remarried. I just nodded, took my 2 children to the government guest house, and left. I still find it funny. Why does Shinyenjo think that I would not get married for him? Although for various reasons, I am indeed not suitable for having children. But my husband loves me very much. His sons and daughters are also orphans of comrades who gave everything for the country, and they are all very filial. I have a successful career and a harmonious family. I feel that I am living a much more comfortable life in this life than in my previous life. In the evening, many old friends got together. Someone told me that Shinyenjo is now a teacher in a school. At first, he divorced me. He was flirting with Anya at school again. And his reputation was already ruined. When I was selecting people to join the Research Institute, because I did not choose Shinyenjo, he wrote a letter to the Research Institute to report me. although the school and research institute later became aware of the whole story, but no matter in front of the leaders of the school or the research institute, the 3 words Shinyenjo were marked with a big cross. This resulted in Shinyenjo being kicked back to his hometown by the school when he was assigned a job after graduation and was assigned to work in the military factory where I used to work. He wanted to join the research institute every year, but was rejected every year. This year is our 2nd year of marriage. Unfortunately, I was not the one responsible for this selection afterwards, as I was proven innocent time and time again. The 3 words Shinyenjo were completely blacklisted by the research institute. Such a person with unclear mind, I can't afford the research institute. In the end, even the military factory didn't want him. He could only go to school to work as an administrative teacher. Speaking of this, someone mentioned Anya. They said that Anya became a housewife since she married Shinyenjo. These years, not only did they have to take care of their mother-in-law, but they also had to take care of the children, and their lives were extremely chaotic. The 2 of them fought at home every day. Shinyenjo and Anya almost became the laughingstock of the whole area. After hearing this, I just smiled. The past is gone with the wind. I will be back to my post in a few days. What does everything here have to do with me? Story 2. In my previous life, a month before my engagement to my childhood sweetheart, our mutual childhood friend cornered him at his doorstep. She cried and said that she had actually liked him for all these years and hoped he could give her a chance. My childhood sweetheart didn't agree. Later, we got married smoothly, but she never gave up, until the white moonlight turned into leftover rice grains, and the mosquito blood that couldn't be wiped clean before became the cinnabar mole in the man's heart. She came excitedly, pregnant, to declare her sovereignty. During the scuffle, she pushed me down the stairs, and I was bleeding from the head. In a trance, I saw my childhood sweetheart and his mother rushing over, supporting her and carefully asking if the fetus was affected. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in my high school days, looking at the man and woman in front of me. This time, everything will be different. 1. When I opened my eyes, I was in the classroom. I was wearing the high school summer uniform. The faint chirping of cicadas in my ears mixed with the cheering sounds outside the window. My head was groggy. I sat up straight and looked at everything in front of me in a daze. The last thing I remembered was that I took the drafted divorce agreement from the law firm and went home, where I met Hanchichi, who was standing at the door waiting for me with a pregnant belly, just like a peacock that had finally won the battle. She raised her head and showed off to me. "I'm pregnant. Aiken said he will divorce you." I was silent and reached past her to take out the key to open the door. Perhaps my indifferent attitude couldn't add luster to her victory. Suddenly, she became emotional and clung to me tightly, refusing to let go. During the entanglement, she suddenly exerted force. I lost my balance in my high heels and fell down the stairs. My head hit the ground. The warm blood and intense pain became my last perception. 2. Accompanied by hasty footsteps, a bottle of water was placed on my desk. "I heard you had heat stroke. You only attended half of the PE class. What happened?" I looked up and saw a familiar face with a hint of anxiety. It was Shinchen, who was many years younger, my childhood sweetheart, my husband, the father of Hanchichi's unborn child. Shinchen. I stared blankly at him, but what came to my mind was that after I fell down the stairs, when he rushed over, he chose to pick up Hanchichi first. He soothed her as she cried and told her not to be afraid, that the baby would be fine. Yao, not getting a response. Shinchen waved his hand in front of me. "Could you have a fever?" I suddenly felt a bit ridiculous. Even in such a situation, I could still have such a dream. Was it that in my subconscious? I was so pathetically eager to get his concern. I let out a cold laugh. Shinchen was taken aback. At this moment, another familiar exaggerated female voice came from the door of the classroom. Yao, are you okay?" Hanchichi rushed in, looking full of concern. "I heard you almost fainted from heat stroke." It scared me to death. But while she said she was worried about me, her body moved towards Shinchen's side, gently rubbing against his sleeve. "I wonder why I didn't notice it before," I murmured. "What?" Both of them were taken aback at the same time. What a fool I was. I shook my head and smiled. I regarded Hanchichi as my close friend, shared my secrets with Shinchen with her, invited her into the study group that Shinchen and I had, helped her with her schoolwork, and helped her improve from being at the bottom of the class to being among the top 100 students in the grade, even after Shinchen and I started dating, because she always said she missed us. We often took her with us when we went out to play. She even called herself the Stephen Third Wheel friend. I introduced boyfriends to her. all of whom were excellent boys. But she always said they weren't suitable. Why didn't I notice it earlier? In fact, she had liked Shin-chan even before she became friends with me. On the eve of my engagement to Shin-chan, she stood in the rain, crying, and cornered him at his doorstep, begging for a fair chance to compete. She kept saying that she didn't want to ruin our friendship, but also said that she loved him so much that she couldn't control herself. At that time, Shin-chan didn't accept her. He firmly got engaged to me and then married me. But 5 years after our marriage, Han Chi-chi always remained the third person in our marriage. After the truth was revealed, she simply threw all caution to the wind. She blocked the door of the place where Shin-chan worked, made him lunch, bought him clothes, and showed her concern. She said she would prove with her actions that she loved Shin-chan more than I did. Shin-chan was disgusted by her pestering. He blocked her, refused to see her, and returned or threw away everything she sent. Half a year later, Han Chi-chi came to me crying, knelt down, and begged for my forgiveness, saying that she had been bewitched in the past and would never pester Shin-chan again. She wanted to be friends with us again. Naturally, I wasn't so naive as to be friends with someone who tried to destroy my marriage, and Shin-chan said he wouldn't either. However, with the dual pressures of the trivial married life and the issue of having children, at every moment when there were small cracks in our married life, Han Chi-chi was still like a pervasive virus, seeping in and affecting our lives. Shin-chan started mentioning her more and more often and even began to miss her. He would talk about Han Chi-chi's thoughtfulness during our quarrels, and also mention the cooking skills that Han Chi-chi had practiced for him when the food didn't suit his taste. Finally, those small cracks that could have been filled originally became bigger and bigger because of the presence of the third person. When we had cold wars and quarrels, he started staying out all night. I couldn't tolerate the betrayal in the marriage and proposed a divorce, but he burst into tears and apologized to me, unwilling to agree. He said he loved me, but I knew that he couldn't let go of Han Chi-chi anymore. He indulged in her obedience, compromise, tenderness, and flattery, so I went to a lawyer alone and drafted a divorce agreement. I wanted to get rid of this entangled and painful relationship. I made all the plans for my life after the divorce and was ready to go to another city to start a new life, but in the end, I was still pushed down by Han Chi-chi. I was forced to witness that disgusting scene. 3. The class bell rang soon. In the afternoon, I looked at the familiar yet unfamiliar blackboard writing on the blackboard and the teachers who came and went on the podium. Finally, I realized one thing. This wasn't a dream, I had been reborn. Perhaps God took pity on me for my poor judgment of people in my previous life and made me reborn in the second year of high school when my friendship with Han Chi-chi just began. Han Chi-chi was a transfer student. She didn't get into our high school in the high school entrance examination. After staying in a third-rate high school for a year, her family spent money to transfer her here. Her grades were not good. Every time she ranked at the bottom of the class in the exams, she would always hide in the toilet and cry. High school is like a small society. Girls with poor academic performance are actually quite vulnerable to being bullied. Soon, some people began to make fun of her. They would deliberately lock the toilet door when she went to the toilet to cry, pour water on her head, and laughingly scold her as the silly crying Chi-chi girl. It was me who saved her. I chased away those girls who bullied her and gave her my spare clothes. She cried and thanked me. Seeing her pitiful situation and fearing that she would be bullied again, I took the initiative to be friends with her. I was the president of the student union and had some prestige in the class and the school. My care for her made other classmates treat her better to some extent, and Shin-chan, because of me, often took good care of her. When I was a child, my kind parents always told me that when you give someone a rose, your hand will be fragrant with its fragrance. I always remembered this sentence. From childhood to adulthood, I always tried my best to help everyone. Later, Han Chi-chi timidly said that she wanted to improve her academic performance, so I invited her into the study group that Shin-chan and I had and helped her improve her grades and get into a 211 university in our local area. However, Shin-chan didn't perform well in the college entrance examination, because I was so infatuated with him and wanted to be with him. I gave up my dream school and applied to a 985 university in our local area. In my senior year of university, there was an opportunity to study abroad for a master's degree. Once again, for Shin-chan, I stayed. Now that I think about it, I was like a fool when I made those decisions. Fortunately, this time, everything has just begun, and it's still not too late. After a while, The bell rang for the end of the class. Shin-chan and Han Chi-Chi walked towards me at the same time. Han Chi-Chi said excitedly, "Shall we review English together in our study group today?" I stood up, picked up my school bag. "I'm going home now." Why do you suddenly want to go home? There are still 2 evening self-study classes." Han Chi-Chi widened her eyes. "Are you still not feeling well after the heat stroke in the afternoon?" Shin-chan reached out his hand. "Don't tell me you really have a fever." I turned my head to avoid his hand. He was taken aback, and his hand hung in the air. "I'm a bit tired and I've asked the teacher for leave." "Then I'll send you back," Shin-chan said. "Wait for me. I'll go and tell the teacher." "No need." I picked up my school bag, and without waiting for him, I turned around and left the classroom. When I reached the downstairs of the unit in the residential area, I just happened to meet Shin's mother, who came down to take out the trash. When Shin's mother saw me, she immediately beamed with joy. "Oh, Yao Yao. Why are you back so early today? By the way, come to Auntie's house later to have some shortbread cookies. They've just been made and are still warm." I looked at the woman in front of me. Once, I thought I had met the best mother-in-law in the world, but after marriage, because Shin-chan and I didn't have children for a long time, I suffered a lot of her disdain. Even later, it was she who kept urging Shin-chan to give it a try with someone else. "She has problems, she can't hold you back." When I was bleeding from the head, she and Shin-chan rushed over together. They didn't even spare a glance for me. Their hearts and eyes were only filled with the baby in Han Chi-Chi's belly. "Thank you, Auntie." I passed by her. "But I don't like shortbread cookies." 5. Under Shin's mother's surprised gaze, I closed the door of my house. Looking at the books on the second layer of the bookshelf and then at myself in the mirror, who was 17 years old, I suddenly felt that perhaps in this new life, what I could change was not just love and marriage. Could I also have a try at that regret that was once deeply buried in my heart? Just then, my mother came back from work. Shin-chan was following behind her. "I just met Shachan downstairs. He said you had heat stroke at school today and left early. Why didn't you call me?" My mother came over anxiously and touched my forehead. "How do you feel now?" "I'm fine," I smiled. "I was just a bit hot." "Don't worry, my mom cooked some mung bean soup for Yao Yao." Shin-chan placed the pot on the table. "It clears the heat, drink it after it cools down. And there are also the shortbread cookies she just made." "Really?" My mother smiled. "You've troubled your mother again." "It's no trouble, Auntie." Shin-chan smiled with his teeth showing, and then peeked at me. "If you're feeling better, let's do our homework together tonight." In my previous life, until the 3rd year of high school, because we lived across from each other, Shin-chan and I often did our homework together and discussed exercises. But in this life, I don't want to anymore. I don't want to have a relationship with him that goes beyond ordinary classmates. I don't want to be close to his mother anymore. And I don't want to repeat the same mistakes and the tragic ending of my previous life. "Shin-chan," I said softly, "I've been a bit tired recently, so I want to study alone for a while. I want to quit the study group and the study sessions we have together at night." 6. Just like that, I quit the study group that Shin-chan and Han Chi-Chi were in. During the evening self-study classes in the following few days, I studied and did exercises by myself. Shin-chan would habitually come to find me during the breaks, but I usually went to the toilet or fetched water with my deskmate before he came. When Han Chi-Chi came to ask me questions, I usually made an excuse that I was busy. Finally, Shin-chan cornered me at my doorstep on the weekend. "What on earth have Han Chi-Chi and I done to offend you?" he said unhappily. "Why have you suddenly ignored us? You're overthinking it. The final exam is coming up. I just want to review by myself." "Am I overthinking it?" He raised his voice. "Everyone in the class can see that you've been ignoring me recently. Do you think I'm blind or deaf?" I was silent for a moment. "Shin-chan, do you like me?" "Huh?" He was stunned. "I don't like you," I said. "What?" I said that although we grew up together and have been together for the past 17 years, I don't have feelings for you that go beyond those of an ordinary friend. I just want to study hard by myself now." "What are you talking about?" He seemed to have heard a funny joke. "Who said I like you? I just regard you as a friend who grew up with me." "That's the best then," I said softly. "Don't flatter yourself," he said with an ugly expression. "I was just showing my concern for you as a friend, but you took my kindness for granted and even accused me of liking you instead." "Humph, you want to study by yourself. That's fine. From now on, we'll all study by ourselves." "Okay," I nodded. I watched his back as he left in a huff. "I'm sorry, Shin-chan at the age of 17. I know that you at the age of 17 haven't done anything yet and you're not that two-timing scumbag yet. This one-sided coldness towards you may be a bit unfair, but with the memories of my previous life, I can no longer accept you. Moreover, since I've already foreseen the unbearable future between us, why not nip it in the bud? Forgetting each other in the vast world is the best ending for us. 7. Since that day, Shin-chan never came to find me again. When Han Chi-chi saw that I was ignoring her, she went to Shin-chan, and he, as if out of spite, loudly said to Han Chi-chi, "It's okay, the two of us will form a study group, and we can still improve our grades. It's not like we can't live without anyone." Indeed, that's true. In this world, no one can't live without someone else. But a few days later, the head teacher, Teacher Zhang, suddenly called me to the office. "Su Yao, have you been a bit reluctant to help your classmates recently?" I frowned. "Teacher Zhang, what do you mean?" "I heard that you quit the study group in the class." I nodded. "Yes, I want to study by myself." Teacher Zhang adjusted his glasses. "Let me tell you, you're still too young. You know, for students, having good academic performance is one thing, but having good moral character is also very important. Selfish behavior is not advisable." "Teacher," I said in confusion, "I think the study group model isn't very suitable for me. I want to study hard. Why is that considered selfish?" He let out a sigh and changed the subject. "Su Yao, I originally planned to recommend you for the 3 good student in the city this year. You know what a 3 good student is, right? One must not only have good academic performance but also good moral character." "Teacher Zhang," I interrupted him, "first of all, last year, I was elected as the 3 good student in the city through a class vote first and then a school-wide vote. It was fair, just, and open. I don't mind using the same form this year. Secondly, I just quit the study group with Shin-chan and Han Chi-chi. Many of my classmates, such as my deskmate and the students sitting in front of and behind me, come to ask me questions, and I actively help them. I don't think there's anything wrong with my ideology and morality. If I were still the 17-year-old me, I might really think I didn't do well enough after being brainwashed by a few words from the head teacher, but in essence, I'm a 27-year-old who has experienced the hardships of society. This kind of preaching is too childish for me." Teacher Zhang couldn't argue with me, so he had to let me go back to the classroom first, but during the class meeting in the afternoon, he suddenly said that he was going to change the seats for everyone. "The study groups in our class before have achieved good results. In this monthly exam, many students' grades have improved." He stood on the podium. "The final exam is coming soon. To improve the overall grades of our class, we will implement a new one-on-one deskmate mutual assistance system. This year's selection of 3 good students in the city will mainly focus on moral education evaluation. How much the deskmate's score improves will be an important criterion for judgment." He read out the names and rearranged the seats, and Han Chi-chi was arranged to be my deskmate. "Yao Yao." Han Chi-chi held her school bag and seemed to be thinking of me. "Don't worry, to help you remain a 3 good student in the city, I will work hard to improve my academic performance." I suddenly found it a bit ridiculous. The head teacher on the stage was gesturing wildly, and the new watch on his wrist was very obvious. Han Chi-chi's family seems to be in the business of selling luxury watches. I suddenly understood. In my previous life, the head teacher didn't intervene because I had been taking the initiative to help Han Chi-chi. Under my tutoring, her grades improved rapidly. By the 3rd year of high school, she even entered the top 100 in the grade. She had a poor foundation and was weak in her studies. I'm afraid that except for me in the previous life who had such great patience, other classmates were too lazy to spend their precious time helping her, even Shin-chan. When the 3 of us studied together, he basically discussed questions with me and rarely helped Han Chi-chi. When I first quit the study group, although Han Chi-chi tried her best to hide it, it was obvious that she was excited inside, but not long after, she should have realized that Shin-chan didn't have much patience with her, and I, the most suitable and convenient helper, suddenly didn't want to help anymore. Although she didn't know the reason, she was anxious. She came to this school and entered this class by pulling strings with money. It was too easy for her to get Teacher Zhang on her side by giving him a luxury watch. They wanted to use the title of 3 good student in the city to restrain me and make me continue to be a free homework tutor. Their calculations were really too good. After class, I went to the office to find Teacher Zhang. "I don't want to be deskmates with Han Chi-chi. Please help me change my seat, teacher." 8. Teacher Zhang got angry as soon as he heard it. "Su Yao, what's wrong with you as a student? Didn't you just promise me that you were willing to help your deskmate? Why do you want to change your seat now? You don't cooperate with the study group." and now you want to change your seat. Look at yourself. Who in the class is as special as you? Teacher, do you love everyone in the world? What? He was taken aback. People always have those they like and those they dislike. I can help my deskmate, but I don't like Han Chi-Chi, so I don't want to help her. What's the point of picking and choosing when it comes to helping others? This time, the seats were arranged according to everyone's scores and are related to the selection of 3 good students in the city. If you want to change, is it fair to others? Why do you only think about yourself? Hee hee, I sneered. 3 good student in the city. 3 good student in the city. Then I'll withdraw from the selection of 3 good students in the city. What? I said I'll withdraw from the selection of 3 good students in the city. You don't have to choose a new deskmate for me either. I'll sit alone. Eccentric, selfish. He was shaking with anger. I'm working hard for you every day. You want to me, don't you? Don't worry, Teacher Zhang. I won't be able to make you angry for long, I said calmly. I've already decided to transfer to the liberal arts class in the 3rd year of high school. 9. As soon as I said this, both Teacher Zhang and Lu Shi were stunned. Teacher Zhang sneered. Hee hee, who are you trying to be angry with? I've never seen anyone transfer between liberal arts and science classes in the 3rd year of high school. Lu Shi also looked at me. I'm not kidding. I looked at Teacher Zhang. In a few days, I'll ask my parents to come and sign the papers. Hee hee. You really think you're a genius, being able to study liberal arts or science as you like. I ignored him and turned to walk out of the office. After going out, I could still hear Teacher Zhang's mocking voice. If she really transfers to the liberal arts class, I'll write my surname Zhang upside down. When I got back to the classroom, I moved my desk and chair to the last row of the classroom. Han Chi-Chi watched me move my things and then turned to look at Shin Chen. Her eyes were wet and red. It was as if I had bullied her. Most of the classmates in the class were silently watching the scene, but only Shin Chen came over. What are you doing? He frowned. Didn't you see it? Moving my seat. Did the teacher agree? I informed him. He watched me packing and took a deep breath. Come with me outside for a moment. I went to the corridor with him. Don't take your anger out on Han Chi-Chi just because you had a quarrel with me. That's really unseemly. I laughed. Take my anger out. Aren't you deliberately embarrassing her because I've been getting close to Han Chi-Chi recently? But Su Yao, you were the one who said you wanted to be just an ordinary classmate with me. We are just ordinary classmates. I just want to study quietly by myself. Shin Chen, I have no feelings towards you. I just find Han Chi-Chi noisy and don't want to waste my time helping her. That's all. After saying that, I wanted to go back to the classroom, but Shin Chen grabbed me. What's wrong with you? Why have you become so selfish? Let go. I frowned. Okay, I surrender. Stop making trouble. Okay, what? He bit his lip. I'll be honest, I got close to her and went to and from school with her just to make you angry, but you can't act like this just because you're angry. After that, he muttered softly, you should really learn from Han Chi-Chi in terms of personality. Look how gentle she is. She always thinks of others. Only I will indulge your bad temper. I looked at the person in front of me quietly. Sure enough, whether in the previous life or this life, whether at the age of 17 or 27, Shin Chen was still the same Shin Chen. Han Chi-Chi's gentleness, compliance, and flattery always worked on him, no matter when, and I lived in his self-righteous love and constant comparisons. I was like a spinning top that couldn't stop, as long as I didn't spin well, fast enough, or to his satisfaction. He would instinctively compare me with Han Chi-Chi and point at her and say, look, how beautifully she spins. I even bestowed my love on you, but you're still nitpicking and ungrateful. But in fact, I never wanted such love. Shin Chen, I said softly, I've always thought that at the very beginning of this relationship, it was because I took the initiative to help Han Chi-Chi, so, to some extent, I also have some responsibility towards you. What? He didn't understand. I shook my head. I'll give you a piece of advice. In this year of the 3rd year of high school, focus on your own studies, do more simulation exercises, reduce your nervousness, and you can get into a good university. After saying that, I turned around and went back to the classroom. This was all I could help him with. As for his future choices, it was up to him. 10. When I got home, Shin's mother was sitting on the sofa, and my mother was answering a phone call. Okay, I'm sorry, Teacher Zhang. The child has caused you trouble. I know. This matter is indeed. I guess the child was just impulsive. Please don't report it to the school in a hurry. Okay. After putting down the phone, my mother had a complicated expression. Your head teacher said that you want to transfer to the liberal arts class. I nodded. What? Transfer to the liberal arts class, Shin's mother immediately said. Listen to Auntie, you can't transfer. It's almost the third year of high school. Teacher Zhang said that you talked back to the teacher today and also said that you want to sit alone. Have you encountered anything recently? My mother asked. I shook my head. Mom, I want to study liberal arts and apply for the School of Journalism at Peking University. Peking University, Shin's mother immediately said again. Oh. It's not easy to get into Peking University, Yao Yao. Auntie is telling you that girls shouldn't go into journalism. It's not safe and doesn't pay well either. Girls should study something like accounting. It will be easier to find a stable job in the future. I was just talking to your mother. The accounting majors of those several 985 universities in our local area are all quite good. And Peking University is so far away from home, it's better for girls to stay closer to home, in the future. You and Shin Chen can both study at local universities, and you can go home on weekends. In my previous life, Shin's mother was like this, constantly telling my parents and me how good it was to stay local, because her legs were not good and she didn't like going out. Shin Chen had told me a long time ago that his mother wanted him to go to a local university, and as the so-called well-known future daughter-in-law in her eyes, of course, it was the most secure for me to study at a local university too. You're the only girl in your family. It's better to stay closer to your parents. You and Shin Chen grew up together. There's no man in this world who will treat you better than him. Get married early after graduation. Yao Yao, girls don't need to have too strong a career ambition. Stability is the most important thing. You always have to take care of the family. Girls should have children early. It's also good for your recovery. It was under the brainwashing of these words that I found an ordinary and stable job after graduation, married Shin Chen, and even doubted myself because I couldn't get pregnant for a long time, and because I couldn't get pregnant for 5 years. Shin's mother's attitude towards me gradually turned bad. Once, I accidentally heard her talking to Shin Chen outside the door. Son, even though you're married, you can't just stick to her. We should have had a premarital medical examination before getting married. Who knew she couldn't have children? Mom, it might not be Yao Yao's problem. It could also be my problem. How could it be your problem? She raised her voice. Let me tell you, Yao Yao has been spoiled by you since she was a child. You give her whatever she wants every day. Now I think Chi-Chi is really nice. She always comes to give me things. And her personality is much better than Yao Yao's. What era is it now? It's not like you can't get a divorce. You and Yao Yao quarrel all the time now. Just give it a try with Chi-Chi. If she gets pregnant, just dump Yao Yao and be with Chi-Chi. Memories of the past flooded my mind, and on Shin's mother's side, she was still pouring out her values to my mother. Most people in this world are ordinary. One shouldn't aim too high. For girls, it's better to seek stability, find a good and reliable husband's family, get married and have children early after graduation. As the old saying goes, it's better to marry well than to study well. Auntie, I interrupted her. It's true that most people in this world are ordinary, but ordinary people also have dreams. Dreams are not about being overly ambitious, and a girl's value is never just about getting married and having children. If you read some books, you might find out how important a position women occupy in promoting the progress of history. Not everyone can promote history. You young people are poisoned by those decadent foreign ideas on the internet. You always think you're so great. She turned to look at my mother again. Yao Yao's mom, I told you before that you should pay attention to the child's ideological changes. Once she's brainwashed, it's really scary. I sneered. Auntie, is it the internet that's brainwashing me? Or are you brainwashing our whole family? You child, what are you talking about? Her face suddenly changed. You come to my home when you have nothing else to do and tell my mom that girls shouldn't marry far away, that girls shouldn't have a strong career ambition, and that girls should get married early. I just don't understand. Do you really want to control me so much? You ungrateful child. I've watched you grow up since you were little. Isn't this out of concern for you? I'm also very busy. If you were a stranger on the street, why would I bother to care about you? Since you're so busy, then please focus on your own business and don't come to my home for no reason anymore, I said coldly. Shin's mother opened her mouth wide and stared at me blankly, unable to say a word for a moment. Fine, I'll go. I'll never come to your home again. As she said this, she stood up, but her movements were slow, obviously waiting for my mother to stop her, but I took a step ahead and grabbed my mother's hand. Thank you, Auntie, indeed. I'm about to enter my senior year of high school, and I also want to have a quiet study environment. Shin's mother's face turned pale and then red. Before leaving, she stopped again and turned to my mother angrily, saying, Yao Yao's mom, you really should discipline your child. 11 After Shin's mother left, my mother let out a sigh. Why are you so angry today? In fact, my parents have always been very open-minded and kind people. But kind people can sometimes be soft-hearted and be taken advantage of. I pulled my mother into the room and pointed to a row of journalism books in the bookcase. Mom, you know that I've been interested in journalism for a long time. The college entrance examination may not be the only opportunity to change the trajectory of one's life, but it's a very important choice. In the past, I just followed the crowd. Because everyone said that when filling in the college entrance examination volunteer, there were more majors to choose from for science students, and that science students had a better future, but personally, I actually prefer liberal arts. Mom, I made this decision after careful consideration and practical judgment, although the classes in the second year of high school mainly focus on science. Because I'm interested in liberal arts and I also need to take the general academic proficiency test. I haven't really fallen behind in the general framework of the content. I'm confident that I can make up for the liberal arts content during the summer vacation of the second year of high school. I really want to transfer to the liberal arts class and strive for my dream, to aim for Peking University. This decision may be a bit risky, but I'm willing to do my best to take a chance. My mother looked at me silently. After a while, she patted my shoulder and said, well, when I come back tonight, I'll discuss it with your father. I hugged her tightly. Thank you, Mom. In the evening, I had a long talk with my parents. The next day, my mother took me to Teacher Zhang's place to sign the papers. Nowadays, students are acting recklessly, and parents are following suit. It's quite ridiculous, he said in a sarcastic tone as he watched my mother sign. Teacher Zhang, my mother smiled. As parents, we think we should support our child's decision and believe in her, instead of pouring cold water on her. Walking out of the office, I felt very happy and relaxed. Maybe I won't necessarily succeed in the end, but I have parents who support me and I've made the choice I wanted. 12 On the first day of the senior year of high school, I met Lu Shi at the door of class 1 of the liberal arts department. I didn't expect you to really come. He raised his eyebrows. Welcome. And Shin Chen was very angry when he learned that I had gone to the liberal arts class. Why didn't you discuss it with me? I was silent for a moment. Shin Chen, this is my personal decision, except for my parents. I don't need to discuss it with anyone else. Fine, fine, he sneered. Then we'll break off our friendship from now on. As soon as the school started, there was a diagnostic examination, perhaps to make everyone nervous. The questions this time were a bit difficult. A week later, the results were announced. My score ranked 11th in the liberal arts class. The entire senior year office was in an uproar. When Teacher Xian, the head teacher, called me to the office, I happened to hear Teacher Zhang shouting inside, she just transferred here. It's impossible for her to get such a high score in liberal arts. This girl has extremely high self-esteem. She must have cheated for the sake of face. We must investigate it thoroughly. I knocked on the door, and the voices inside stopped abruptly. When Teacher Xian saw me, he immediately smiled and waved for me to come over. Su Yao, you got a very good score in this diagnostic examination. The teacher just wants to ask you, how did you improve your liberal arts score in such a short time? Hee. Teacher Zhang sneered beside him. I was silent for a moment and said seriously, Teacher Xian, is there any teacher who suspects that I cheated? Teacher Xian, well, to be honest, since you just transferred from the science class and directly ranked 11th in the grade, the teachers are actually quite curious. I smiled. Teacher Xian, do you know how I spent the summer vacation of the second year of high school? For the entire summer vacation, I locked myself at home and had no entertainment activities. I bought liberal arts review materials and real college entrance examination questions. I went through each knowledge point and solved each question. I studied from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. every day. I can understand that the teachers are curious, but I can't accept being suspected of cheating without any reason. Is it without reason? Where there's smoke, there's fire. What evidence do you have to prove that you didn't cheat? Teacher Zhang immediately said, there are invigilators in the examination room and there is surveillance. Why don't you ask the invigilators, Teacher Zhang, or even check the surveillance? Why do you question me on the premise of subjectively believing that I cheated? Look, Teacher Xian, look, she's so unruly, Teacher Zhang said excitedly. She's just gotten carried away as a student leader and is very self-righteous. You must call her parents. Unexpectedly, Teacher Xian ignored him. Su Yao, the teacher believes in you, keep working hard. Teacher Zhang widened his eyes. No, Teacher Xian, you're still young and don't know that students are always full of tricks. You can't encourage students to give up their integrity just for the grades of class 1 of the liberal arts department and to get promoted to a higher level teacher. Teacher Zhang, when it comes to integrity, Lu Shi, who was helping Teacher Xian organize materials beside him, suddenly looked up. Did you forget something? What? Teacher Zhang was surprised. The teacher believes in you, keep working hard. Teacher Zhang widened his eyes. No, Teacher Xian, you're still young and don't know that students are always full of tricks. You can't encourage students to give up their integrity just for the grades of class 1 of the liberal arts department and to get promoted to a higher level teacher. Teacher Zhang, when it comes to integrity, Lu Shi, who was helping Teacher Xian organize materials beside him, suddenly looked up. Did you forget something? What? Teacher Zhang was surprised. Lu Shi opened his innocent and bright big eyes. You said in the office that if Su Yao transferred to the liberal arts class, you would write your surname Zhang upside down. Have you written your name upside down recently? The other teachers in the office were holding back their laughter, and one of them couldn't help but laugh out loud. Teacher Zhang. Teacher Xian also smiled. You'd better mind your own business when it comes to class 1 of the liberal arts department. A minute later, Lu Shi and I walked out of the office one after another. Su Yao. I turned around. You seem quite interesting. He put his hands in his pockets. Actually, I've always thought that school is quite boring and there's no worthy opponent. But to be honest, I'm kind of looking forward to it now. Looking forward to what? I was puzzled. He smiled. Looking forward to the day when we meet at the top. 13 in the days that followed. All I did every day was study. News from the science class sometimes reached my ears. For example, Han Chi-Chi was pursuing Shin-Chin vigorously. Maybe my departure was the reason why she took action earlier than in the previous life. But this life is different from the previous one. In the previous life, with my contrast, Han Chi-Chi became Shin-Chen's warm haven to escape from marriage. In this life, I've already gone to the liberal arts class. Han Chi-Chi's enthusiastic pursuit as a poor student will only make Shin-Chen feel ashamed. He has no time and no patience to help her improve her grades. And love and the warmth of the opposite sex are not necessities in the high-pressure senior year of high school. Han Chi-Chi has once again become the laughingstock of the whole grade. But I didn't expect that she would take out her anger on me for Shin-Chen's indifference towards her. In the past 2 weeks, several girls sitting on my left have always chatted loudly while I'm studying. They were the same girls who had bullied Han Chi-Chi before, and now it seems that the target they want to bully has become me. I saw once after school that Han Chi-Chi was walking with them in a mysterious way. Now, each of them is wearing an exquisite lady's watch on their wrist, and during a break, these girls, perhaps under someone's instruction, actually blocked me in the toilet cubicle and poured a basin of cold water on me, making me wet from head to toe. Retribution will come, it's just a matter of time, one of the girls said with a laugh. I stood silently in the toilet cubicle. After the door was opened from the outside, I borrowed a towel and went to the hygiene teacher to dry my clothes. Then I went back to the toilet sink, picked up the bucket beside it, and filled it with a bucket of water. When I carried the bucket into the class, those girls were chatting happily. I walked over, lifted the bucket, and poured a bucket of water on them. Ah, they screamed. Is that all you can do? I smiled. I'm really sorry. I've always been the kind of person who repays a kindness many times over. You crazy woman, they shouted. We're going to tell the teacher. I'm the one who should tell the teacher. I sneered. What era is it now? You're still playing this boring bullying game. If you have the guts, don't sit here. One of the girls shouted. I just want to affect you. I just can't stand you. You're not the student union president this semester anymore. Don't talk to me in that official tone. We're not afraid of you. It spread all over the grade. You shameless cheater. Who do you think you are? So noisy. A voice suddenly came from the back of the classroom. The whole class fell silent. Lu Shi lazily sat up and walked over to ask, You don't want her to sit here? A girl wiped the water from her forehead and replied, Yeah, she bullied us. And Lu Shi, you know she's a cheater, right? We don't want to sit with someone of bad character. After saying this, several of them had a look of anticipation, waiting to see the fun. Oh, Lu Shi nodded and turned to ask me, Actually, I also think your study environment here isn't very good. After all, birds of a feather flock together. You don't have to prove that you can stay untainted in such an important moment of senior year. Do you want to consider being my deskmate? What? I was stunned. And the other girls were also stunned. After all, on the first day I came to this class, I heard that Lu Shi is a good student, handsome, and has a sharp tongue. Before, there were also girls who tried to be his deskmate and get close to him by asking questions, but usually, they were made to cry by his sharp words in no time. Over time, no one dared to get close to him, and his deskmate position has always been vacant. This is probably the first time that a top student has taken the initiative to invite someone to be his deskmate. Anyone who doesn't go is a fool. Okay, I nodded. Let's go. He helped me pick up my school bag. Just like that, the two of us, under the gaze of the whole class, moved my seat next to his. 14 of course, with the personalities of Han Chi-Chi and those girls, they probably won't let it go so easily. To avoid any unexpected problems at this crucial moment. Just as I was hesitating whether to ask my father to pick me up after the evening self-study in the future, Lu Shi suddenly said, "When I helped teacher Exile organize materials last time, I saw that your home is on Feng Street." "No, 15, right," I nodded. "My home is just one street behind yours. The evening self-study will last until 9 p.m., starting next week. Do you want to walk with me for company?" "That would be great. Also, in your last monthly exam, you ranked 11th, right?" "Yeah." "Ranking 11th won't get you into Peking University." He threw over a notebook of wrong questions. "I don't look at the questions in this notebook anymore. If you want, you can refer to it." At this time, the bell for the end of the self-study class rang. He stood up, picked up the basketball, and walked outside. "Lu Shi." He turned around. "I heard from others before. You're not usually the type to meddle in other people's business." "Yeah, but you're not someone else now," he said lazily. "What?" He curved his lips into a faint smile. "Please give me more guidance in the future." Deskmate, 15. The notebook of wrong questions of a top student is more useful than any review materials. In the following month, I studied even harder, summarized problem-solving ideas and methods, and in the first monthly exam of senior year, I rushed to the 8th place in the grade. The rumor that I cheated in the diagnostic examination was dispelled on its own. And my relationship with Lu Shi gradually became closer. The results of this year's city evaluation came out. Although Class 1 of the science department didn't sign me up for the 3 good student, the teacher from the student affairs office signed me up for the outstanding student cadre, and I got the honor as expected. I heard that when the results were announced, Teacher Zhang smashed his outstanding teacher cup in the office. After National Day, the school held an autumn sports meeting. On my way to fetch water, I suddenly saw Teacher Zhang and Han Chi-Chi standing behind the teaching building with a man in a sneaky way. I thought for a while and secretly slipped into an empty classroom on the first floor. Squatting under the window, I pressed the recording button on my phone. "Teacher Zhang, Chi-Chi's current grades are not good enough to get into a top university in China, as I mentioned to you last time. See if you can boost her regular grades a bit. This way, it will look better when we apply to foreign universities for her." "Got it. It's too difficult to pull off a substitution in the college entrance examination now, but I can still help with the regular grades. Thank you so much. The teachers we hired outside didn't work out. It would be best to arrange a few good students to tutor her. If her college entrance examination grades can improve, that would be the best." The previous one. That Su Yao was too disobedient. "Don't mention it. I've already pushed her to the liberal arts class. I'll choose another candidate. That girl always makes my daughter unhappy. Don't worry. I'll find another opportunity in the future to teach her a lesson and give her a disciplinary action or something. It's not a difficult task. Okay, please accept this watch." "Oh, I really shouldn't. Always making Mr. Han spend money." "It's nothing, really." After the footsteps outside the window faded away, my palms were sweating. I stood up. Just as I reached the classroom door, I heard a voice, snooping so blatantly. "Aren't you afraid of being seen?" All the hairs on my body stood on end. I looked up and saw Lu Shi. "You scared me to death. What are you doing here?" I widened my eyes. "You're asking me." He was both amused and annoyed. "If you want to be an undercover journalist, you should learn the basic skills first. You didn't even close the classroom door and just squatted there in the corner so openly. Are you afraid that passersby won't see you?" I opened my mouth. Then, "Did anyone see, you fool?" "Of course not." He folded his arms across his chest. "I've been standing guard here all along." 16. The next day, before the whole school's morning exercises, a strange recording was suddenly played on the radio station. The protagonists of the recording were Zhang Jian, the head teacher of Class 1 of senior high school in science, and Han Shichi's parents. Lu Shi, the director of the radio station, said it was a live broadcast accident. I received a mysterious voice recorder. He spread his hands. I originally wanted to listen to the content inside with everyone. Who knew the microphone wasn't turned off at that time? Teacher Zhang was suspended from his duties and all his were revoked, and this recording, because some students recorded it and posted it online, became a trending topic in less than an hour. The all-knowing netizens turned into Sherlock Holmes one by one. Not only did students who had been taught by Teacher Zhang in the past accuse him of treating wealthy students differently back then, but they also dug up Han Chi-Chi's family to the bottom. Isn't this the family that sells fake watches? I bought a fake watch from their store too. They said it was second-hand, but actually it was all fake. Someone reported Han's company. The public security organs intervened and found that the Han family was not only involved in manufacturing and selling fake goods but also suspected of money laundering crimes. The school started to investigate whether Han Chi-Chi had formed a bullying group at school. When it came to those girls, they cried and said that Han Chi-Chi had given them famous watches and asked them to bully me. Han Chi-Chi became a pariah at school and dropped out of school soon after. The most pathetic one was Teacher Zhang. The watch he wore on his hand and admired every day was finally found to be fake. 17. The afternoon after Han Chi-Chi dropped out of school, I saw Shin Chen at the entrance of the unit in the community. He said he was sorry to me. I didn't know she had been so malicious all along and always wanted to target you. In fact, I also hated her later. He wrung his hands helplessly. I'm sorry, Yao Yao. Let's make up, okay? When he said this, he was holding the strawberry milk that I used to love to drink in his hand. But when I looked at that bottle of milk, I suddenly thought of the previous life. I came back a day early from a business trip and saw the strawberry milk that should have been in the refrigerator on the table. There was still an ambiguous lipstick mark on the mouth of the bottle. The bedroom and the bathroom were filled with an indescribable smell. It was obvious that the two people after their joy were in a hurry to go to work and didn't clean up in a hurry. After being reborn, I never drank strawberry milk again. A feeling of nausea welled up in an instant. I turned my head and couldn't help vomiting. Shin Chen was frightened and hurriedly came up to pat my back, but I stopped him. Sorry. I tried to calm myself down. I don't like this milk anymore. Then I'll change it, he stammered. I shook my head. It couldn't be changed. And we couldn't go back either. Shin Chen, I forced a smile. We'd better not see each other recently. I wish you success in the college entrance examination in advance. Everything goes well. Is it because of Lu Shi? He suddenly said. What? You've fallen in love with Lu Shi. So you chased after him to the liberal arts class. Now you two sit together and go home from school together. Isn't that right? He raised his voice. Shin Chen, Lu Shi, and I are just classmates. I told you. I just want to study hard now. He sneered. Childhood sweetheart can't beat the new arrival. Right. He threw the strawberry milk aside. I really didn't expect you to be this kind of person. A lot of girls like Lu Shi. He won't be a good choice. He had a sullen face. Su Yao, if you don't choose me, you'll regret it one day. 18. After that, when Shin Chen saw me again, he was like a stranger. He seemed to be competing and also fully immersed himself in the intense study. His monthly exam results were getting better and better. Shin's mother showed off intentionally or unintentionally in the community more than once. With these grades, basically any 985 university in the country can be chosen. At the end of the first semester, my grade stabilized at the second place in the grade. The second semester also passed quickly. The first, second, and third mock exams passed. After May, it was the time for the college entrance examination in June. I felt that I performed well. After the exam, I briefly compared the answers with Lu Shi and basically had an estimate of my score. There should be no problem for both of us to get into Peking University. When the scores came out, it was indeed the case. Lu Shi, as expected, got the first place in the city. And I was the 8th place in the city. Both of us received offers from several schools. I applied for the School of Journalism at Peking University, and Lu Shi applied for the School of History at Peking University. I heard that Shin Chen also did well in the exam and got into the best 985 university in the local area, which was much better than the school in his previous life. But I heard that he got sick right after the college entrance examination. And Shin's mother took care of the college entrance examination application process. Coincidentally, Shin Chen's and my entrance banquets were arranged in the same restaurant on the same day. Shin Chen and Shin's mother were standing at the entrance of the banquet hall opposite us. Shin's mother had a beaming face, But Shin didn't even shave his beard and looked listless. Oh, choosing a school is not as important as choosing a major. The major I carefully selected for Shin is finance. Only by studying finance can he make a lot of money in the future, Shin's mother said, looking at our side intentionally, just like the two students from Peking University in their school this year. One studies journalism and the other studies history. Although the school is the best in the country, they won't be able to find jobs in the future. My mother was about to go up and quarrel with her when I quickly stopped her. What kind of person is she? I've been friends with her for so many years. Can other schools compare with Peking University? Don't be like her. I patted my mother's back to soothe her. Let me tell you, with Shin like this, girls will line up to date him in the future. I'm already worried about how to choose a daughter-in-law now, Shin's mother continued. When she got excited, she pulled Shin. Shin, didn't I tell you to bring the admission notice? Take it out quickly and show it to your aunts. Shin shook his head. His eyes suddenly met mine in the distance. For some reason, his eyes were full of sadness. Oh, why are you shaking your head? Shin's mother snatched Shin's bag, but she didn't hold it steady and all the things in the bag fell out. An old lady enthusiastically helped pick up the things on the ground. Oh, is this the admission notice? What does it say? Azoospermia. This, Immediately several people gathered around. One of them covered her mouth in surprise. Oh, Shin, you can't have children. Then it will be difficult to find a partner in the future. What are you talking about? Shin's mother snatched the inspection report. This. She turned around in disbelief. Shin, what is this? When did you have this examination? Oh, it's a misunderstanding. The child made a fake one by himself. She quickly said to everyone, it's not fake. Shin suddenly said, I have azoospermia. I can't have children. What are you talking about? Shin's mother was so angry that she slapped him on the back. Go inside now. Shin smiled self-deprecatingly, amid Shin's mother's shouts. He walked out without looking back. 19. Suddenly, I realized one thing. Shin. I chased after him. He turned around, his eyes filled with tears, and his voice was hoarse. Yao. You also remembered the things in the previous life, right? I said calmly. He didn't answer, but suddenly rushed forward and hugged me tightly. I had a very long dream. His tears flowed down and he spoke incoherently. In the dream, I betrayed you. I thought I had a child with her, but that child wasn't mine. You were pushed down the stairs by her. I didn't save you in time. Later, I found out that the child wasn't mine. I quarreled with her and she picked up scissors and stabbed me. So that's how it was. In the previous life, Shin had never gone for an examination, but actually, I had gone for an examination. The examination results showed that I had no fertility problems, but before I had time to tell Shin, I discovered the fact that he had an affair with Han Chi. I'm sorry, Yao, but that was just a dream, right? He cried bitterly. I won't treat you like that. I will never treat you like that. We still have a chance. Everything now still has a chance. This time, let's be good, okay? I gently pushed him away. Shin, you and I both know that it wasn't just a simple dream. The bleeding was real, and the pain was real. All of it was the pain I really experienced. If you were still the Shin who knew nothing and remembered nothing, maybe we could still get along as ordinary classmates or friends. But now that you've remembered, we can't even be ordinary classmates anymore. I don't want to bring the hatred of the previous life into this life. Being strangers is my last bottom line. I hope you can be a better person in this life. Maybe I'm cold-blooded, but I don't pity him. If he really had the ability to have children and if that child was really his, then in the previous life, he should have been happy with Han Chi. Never expect to exchange your own misery or even your life for the regret that a man condescends to give, because this belated pity and regret are not worth a penny in the face of a life full of unknown wonderfulness and beauty. 20. That night, Shin's mother cried and made a scene at home for a long time. The whole unit could hear it. At 9 p.m., a small stone was suddenly thrown at the window glass of my room. I opened the window and looked down. It was actually Lu Shi. He was holding a small bunch of flowers in his hands, standing under the street lamp, like a prince in a fairy tale world. I quickly changed my clothes and went downstairs. Why didn't you send a message? What era is it now? You still call people by throwing stones at the window. I smiled. I just wanted to give it a try and see if you could hear. He shrugged. The two of us looked at each other and smiled. I'm going on a trip with my parents tomorrow. So the next time we meet should be at Peking University. I nodded. Yeah, This flower is, he coughed softly, this flower is called Alstroemeria. I just passed by a flower shop and saw it. I thought the flower language was quite suitable for you, so I bought it on the way. He handed the flowers to me. I seem to have never congratulated you on getting into Peking University. Same to you. I took the flowers with a smile. Then, go up early. See you at Peking University. Yeah. See you at Peking University. Looking at Lu Shi's leaving back, I belatedly remembered what he said just now. He said that the flower language of Alstroemeria was very suitable for me, but he didn't say what the flower language was. I opened my phone and typed. The answer popped up quickly. The flower language of Alstroemeria, friendship, looking forward to reunion, and rebirth, 21, in September. I reported to the School of Journalism at Peking University. The old professor gave us the first class. If any one of you wants to make a lot of money in the future, it's still not too late to apply for the major transfer exam now. He smiled. As journalists, you should always keep in mind one thing, and that is your social responsibility. To study journalism, there are also many skills to master: interviewing, writing, layout, video production. I was extremely busy, and Lu Shi was also very busy. He was still a man of the hour at school and was a dazzling presence even at Peking University, which was full of talents. Even some girls in my class knew that I was a high school classmate of his and asked me if I could introduce them to him. I went to ask Lu Shi excitedly, but he refused decisively. Why don't you get to know her? That girl is really nice. I don't want to. Many girls are asking what kind of girlfriend you're looking for. He didn't even look up. I don't want to find one. Why? I was puzzled. Aren't you not looking for one either? He said, I'm just too busy. It's the same for me. He closed the book. I'm also busy, just like that. Until our senior year of university, Lu Shi didn't have a girlfriend. Some girls began to suspect his sexual orientation and asked me indirectly if he liked men. I thought for a while. I guess not. Then he likes you, they said. Really? Except for you. We haven't seen Godlu get close to any other girl. After graduating from senior year, I received an offer from a prestigious foreign university for a master's degree in journalism, while Lu Shi stayed at the university to pursue a direct Ph.D. On the day I left Beijing, he went to the airport to see me off. At the moment of parting, a strong emotion suddenly welled up in my heart. In fact, I knew, being too busy with studies and having no time to fall in love were just excuses for myself. I was just so deeply hurt in my previous life that I had been too afraid to take that step again. But what if it was this person in front of me? Should I give it a try? I pinched my palm and suddenly looked up. Lu Shi. I looked into his beautiful eyes and said word by word, do you like me? He was stunned, and then he smiled. Yao Yao. Do you know why a TV drama can have 100 episodes? What? Because they don't say what they want to say directly. If you're so straightforward, what's there to write about in the story? Stop talking nonsense, I said anxiously. Do you like me or not? If not, forget it. Hey, are you getting angry? He smiled and grabbed me. I just think it's a bit of a pity. Originally, I had already bought a ticket for the next flight. When I got there, I was going to give you a surprise. Huh? What did you say? I've been waiting for the day when you're willing to fall in love. Then, he took out a very beautifully pressed Alstroemeria bookmark from his bosom. At the same time, I heard his magnetic and pleasant voice. He said, I love you. 22. Lu Shi and I had a long-distance relationship across countries for 3 years. 3 years later, I returned to China and became a social news reporter. 2 years later, Lu Shi graduated with a Ph.D. and stayed at the university as a faculty member. In less than 2 years, he was exceptionally promoted to an associate professor. I have always adhered to the original aspiration of a journalist. Done every piece of news with a truth-seeking attitude, been active in the career I love, and won several honors in the industry. As a guest on a history program, Lu Shi is known as Godlu of History by netizens because of his eloquence and is rated as a new famous orator at Peking University. When I first transferred to the liberal arts class, he once said that he was looking forward to meeting me at the peak. Many years later, we both stood at the summit of our respective fields and kept looking ahead, exploring one peak after another. Another year passed, and we got married. It was the college entrance examination season again. Our high school alma mater invited us both to give a speech at the school. Coincidentally, when I was waiting for Lu Shi, who went to buy water by the roadside, I actually met Shin Chen. He was holding a child's hand. I looked up and saw a familiar face with a hint of anxiety. I always see you on TV and the internet, he smiled. You must have had a good life these past few years, I nodded. I've been teaching in the mountainous areas these past few years. This is the child I adopted, he said. We exchanged a few simple greetings, and then he left with the child. At this moment, Lu Shi came back. He squinted his eyes and looked at the distant figure. Shin Chen, what's he doing here? Did he come to find you? I burst out laughing. We just met by chance. Why? Is Professor Lu jealous of such an old matter? He snorted softly. By the way, I tugged at his sleeve. I remember you bought me a bunch of Alstroemeria back then. Did you buy it from that flower shop over there? He looked at me and muttered softly, You're so slow. Do you think you can buy such a niche flower from this small flower shop? Huh, I specially bought it online. I looked for several stores. It was really hard to find. I blinked. Wow, Lu Shi, did you secretly like me at that time? To my surprise, he actually blushed and tightly grabbed my hand in a fierce manner. Come on, let's go quickly. We'll be late in a while. Help. After getting married, he actually blushes. He's so different from that aloof and arrogant Professor Lu at school. When we returned to the school, I realized that over the years, I had always been a legend in our high school alma mater. After the speech, the school asked us to write messages for this year's examinees. I thought for a while and wrote the following words. Because of love, there is passion. Believe in yourself. Looking forward to meeting at the peak.